She leads by example. She always pushes herself, which helps push our other athletes to also push themselves further.
She definitely is very humble about what she does because she's good at it.
Looking at what's best for the team, even if it affects her in a negative way, and it affects the team in a positive way, that's what she's focused on.
Jordan's a great player on the field. She's always very motivated. She cares a lot about the sport and a lot about us as players, and she really cares about us as friends. She's always trying to motivate us and make us happier and better players because she knows that if we're happy and in the right headspace that we'll all play better as a team.
It really meant a lot to hear other people saw the hard work that I was doing and all the work in the school and in the classroom. It really helps that I love playing soccer, I love running, and I also love the people I do it with.
Congratulations, Jordan.
For over 20 years, 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union have been recognizing scholar athletes at Triangle area schools. If you'd like to nominate a high school athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326. That's AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Granger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Granger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Getting hurt in a car wreck comes with all kinds of stress and frustration. But when you call me, I'll be on top of all of it. So all you need to worry about is getting better. If you've been injured in a car wreck, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. One more gray day before the sun and the warmth returns tomorrow. We'll see a high this afternoon around 58 degrees, and it's a bit breezy. Overnight low is mild, around 50, and we'll climb into the mid to upper 70s tomorrow under partly cloudy skies.
3 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 301 points to 48,602.
Evans to the corner. There's Dame Sarr. Little ball fake and a drive to punch it down with the right hand. Foster spinning across midcourt on the left sideline. Got into the paint now. Kicks to the right. There's Evans for three. And that's good. Rebels break it easily. Now Jaminha's got a numbers advantage. And a lob to Brown for a dunk. Crossing over up top. Back for Boozer. Inside for Gunquick. Catches down low and dunks. Into the right corner. There's Dame Sarr. He's got another one. Lob it inside for Brown. Back outside for Foster. Back for Boozer in the paint. Nice move. Takes the foul. Count it and one.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly on 99.9 The Fan.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. I'm Tim Donnelly, Dennis Cox producing the show. And yes, we are at this point in the calendar, so I will update you right from the beginning. Carolina Hurricanes have not made a trade today, okay? Perhaps they're thinking about it, perhaps they're talking about it. I guarantee they're having conversations about something, but has not happened today. So if you're waiting on pins and needles, feel free to exhale. As I said, I'm Tim Donnelly, and Dennis is here producing. Now that we've gotten that little bit of relief for you, Canes have not executed a trade, we can jump into one of our favorite ways to start the show, the Big 3 at 3.
Number 1.
Duke smashed NC State last night. 93-64. It didn't feel that close. It was an opportunity for State to turn their season. Instead, they continued on the path that they've been on. They've now lost 5 of their last 6, all in different but yet equally frustrating ways. And Duke continued to pulverize everything in their path in the ACC. Their last 4 or 5 games are probably the most impressive of their season. And there were some signs early that State was grasping at straws. When they went to the zone defense a bunch more, like they basically played zone in the first half last night, as much, meaning as many possessions as they had played zone in any 5-game stretch throughout the year. They tried to throw a curveball. They tried to catch Duke slipping. It was not the type of decision I think you make when you are aware that your team is in a fair fight. It is the decision you make when you feel like your team is at a severe detriment in a few different categories. After the game, Will Wade, head coach of NC State, was asked why he went to the zone defense, and this was his answer.
There's an old book, The Genius of Desperation, about football. And, we've been so bad defensively. I saw it on my shelf, and I pulled it out when I was at home on Saturday night. And it's like, you know what? We need to probably try something different. And this probably wasn't a great team to try it against. But, look, we were trying. When we went man, we fouled them almost every possession. We'd have fouled everybody out, I think, if we'd have played them in man. And, look, it was worth trying, and we're going to have to just junk up the rest of the year with our defenses, and we got to build off of it. But, our guys did a solid job we installed it twice yesterday and once today. We ran it against not everybody's got wings on the backside and can mountain on the backside with Boozer. There's just some mismatches there. But, they may have scored 120 if we played man the whole game. But, we were just going to run out of people. We were going to foul them every possession. And so, out of desperation, we tried it, and it worked for about 8 minutes.
That's like a aggressive compliance or whatever. That's like doing what you ask. It's here's the only way I can describe it. I saw this on, I don't even know, it must have been a sitcom or something, where somebody was yelling at a elementary school kid, called a third grader. Right, and they kept getting up from their seat in class, and the teacher or the parent, whoever it was like, "Sit down right now," and the kid just dropped and sat on the floor, and it was kind of like, "I'm doing what you asked." It was like aggressive compliance. It was combative compliance. Right, I'm listening. I wanted State to have things to try. I wanted them to have plan B if plan A wasn't working. I didn't mean go to something that is so far outside of what you do. I didn't mean go to something that is so far outside your identity that you barely have any practice with it and do it against the number one team in the country under the guise of protecting yourself against foul trouble, like guys that are in zone can't foul too. It was a very frustrating game if you're a State fan. If you're a Duke fan, it was over early for all intents and purposes, and it was just about how high you were going to push it, what the stats were going to look like. That's number one. Let's get to number two.
Number two.
Carolina Hurricanes lost last night out there to start their West Coast road trip with a 2-1 loss at Seattle. I say this in the most... It's like it's knowingly but not agreeing with it. But when this happens, it happens. Let me explain. I think to a lot of people out there that don't cover the Canes, that don't watch the Canes every single game, last night is a stereotypically Carolina Hurricanes prototypical loss. Like that is the plutonic ideal of what a lot of people think of when they think of Canes losses. You're going to outshoot them, right? You're going to control the puck. You're going to keep getting pucks in deep. You're going to keep doing that, and you're not going to be able to finish, and you lose 2-1. I think quite a bit of their reputation is on plays just like that, is on games just like that. Yes, you dominated. Congratulations. Right, you're going to have Rod Brindamore after the game saying things like, hey, if a couple breaks go our way, we're going to go ahead and win that one. And the logic is just keep doing it and wins will come. And I agree with it, right? Which is why I say if you cover the team, if you watch the team every single day, those aren't the things that pop into your brain. But when it happens, it does feel like, oh man, they're all going to say the thing, aren't they? They're all going to call out the Kane system, aren't they? Right? When you're facing as many shots essentially in a game that you are putting on the opposing team darn near every period, and yet you're losing 2-1, it's like, yep, they're gonna say that there's the Kane system again. In actuality, I think those games are going to happen. Right? The term puck luck is a term for a reason. And probably the bigger, better story is they played Freddie in net back-to-back games, and he gave up 2 goals each. And you'll take that from Freddie. You wish he would have got the win, which kind of goes into the whole thing of it seems like the team just finds ways to win when Bussey's out there, and they don't find ways to win when Freddie's out there. But that's a conversation for a different day, or at least later on in today. That's number 2. Let's get to number 3.
Number 3.
UNC men's basketball hosting Clemson tonight, 7 p.m. This is with Caleb Wilson expected not to be in, right? The availability report saying he's not going to play. Still with that fractured left hand, although he's making progress and he's able to catch and shoot and everything in practice, not playing 5-on-5. He's still not going to play versus Clemson tonight. The bummer of that, assuming he does what I think all of us logically would expect, which is go and into the NBA draft this year, may have seen the last of Caleb Wilson in Chapel Hill. And that's just a bummer, right? That's the nature of one and dones, the nature of injuries, the nature of all of it is just like, oh man, we didn't even know that was the last time we were going to see him in the Dean Dome. But it's likely already come and gone. So once you take that out of account, you let those emotions kind of settle. Here's what tonight is. It actually turns this game into a big opportunity. I think if Caleb Wilson plays against Clemson, with the fact that Clemson's lost 4 of their last 5, and I know they beat Louisville in their most recent, but because they've dropped to the point where this isn't even a quad 1 game, they're 35th in the net ranking, and it's a home game for UNC, so they'd have to be top 30 for it to be a quad 1. Because of the kind of leak in oil that Clemson has had recently, if Caleb Wilson plays, I think you just kind of ho-hum expect this to be a win. You might even require it, right? It's like it better be a win. You take Caleb Wilson out, now it's an opportunity, I think, for a resume builder. Oh, it's only a quad 2 win, but it's a quad 2 win without their best player. Suddenly it's now something that the committee might look at and go, all right, actually, you know what? That is a little bit better.
Quad 2 wins still matter.
Quad 2 wins without your best player, darn near quad 1, maybe even equivalent. And it's another opportunity for Henry Vasar to show that against a good opponent, he and Seth Trimble and the rest of the guys can be the center of the entire piece, right? They can be the main course. They can be the gravitational pull. And if they're able to put up the points and do the things necessary to be efficient and win the game against Clemson, then, yeah, I think this is a feather in the cap win rather than when you're one of the top 4 teams in the ACC, you should get wins.
Well, you clinch the double bye if you win.
Clinch the double bye, even more important.
So there's a ton at stake for both these teams.
And it's senior day. Which emotional stakes, actual stakes, the narrative stakes of NCAA tournament seeding, there's a lot on the line for UNC tonight, which probably allows you to remove any and all acceptance of anything other than locked in, right? If you show up flat, there's no more excuses. If you show up, because we've seen them at times this year, show up and kind of, 8 minutes in going like, are they going to start playing here? If that happens tonight, no excuses because of everything we just said. And I would imagine there's pride when Wilson remains out in games like this because you don't, as much as you like him as a teammate, you don't want everybody to be saying, oh, we would have won if he played like they had to do for some other games already. But that's tonight. UNC, Clemson, and 7 p.m. is the opening tip for that. You want a fun fact about this one, Dennis?
Yes.
Seth Trimble being a senior, Isaac Trotter of 247 Sports put out this stat. There are 22 high major scholarship players who will celebrate senior night this week and played at just one location.
Wow.
That's not 22 schools. That's 22 players. And if you break it down by conference, as, again, Isaac Trotter of 247 Sports did. The ACC has 3. SEC has 1. The most is the Big Ten with 10. That's it for high major. That's crazy. But it also does make it so guys like Seth Trimble probably deserve to be celebrated a little bit more, right? That loyalty isn't as common as you expect it to be. It's just crazy how many guys are like 24, 25, still playing college basketball, but almost none of them have been playing at the same spot the whole time. Seth Trimble, not that old, but has played 4 years at UNC. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Big 3 at 3 here on the Drive. When we come back, talk about that Canes loss last night, the 2-1 loss to Seattle. We'll have actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. I don't want to skip over this. That's one segment. I don't want to skip over anything. When we come back, Duke smoked NC State. NC State's got some explaining to do. We'll play some audio for you next.
It's bow time.
Finally, lunchtime. I'm starving.
What's that?
This is the Bojangler from Bojangles.
Ooh, with the same bold flavor as their chicken?
The same.
And fries.
The same.
Huh. Well, I've got a PB&J.
Yeah, that's not the same.
A crispy fish fillet dusted in Bo's famous seasoning. With cheese and tartar sauce on a fluffy bun, the Bojangler's back. Hook one while you can. It's bow time.
There's bow time, and then there's Bojangler time. You heard right. The Bojangler fish fillet sandwich is back for limited time at participating Bojangles. A light, flaky, perfectly seasoned fish fillet with lettuce, cheese, and tartar sauce tucked inside a bun. Make it a combo and add Bojangles seasoned fries and legendary iced tea. Hungry for Bojangles but in the mood for something different? Then it's Bojangler time.
Are high-interest credit cards and other loans sucking the life out of your finances? It's time to say no more. Let Loan Pronto tap the equity in your home and get the cash you need now so you can pay it all off. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Corey and Jack called Loan Pronto. In a matter of days, they had $160,000. They kept their 3% mortgage intact and didn't even need an appraisal. With all that cash, they wiped out all their credit cards and 2 car loans, saving $2,000 a month. You can do it too. LoanPronto.com. Their rapid equity loan program can get you $100,000, $200,000, even $500,000 in cash. Chloe and Ethan just did it. Consolidated all their high interest debt into one super low monthly payment, giving them an extra $1,000 a month. Imagine, pay off all the credit cards, slash your monthly payments, breathe easier, get your life back. Interest rates are at a 3-year low. Call Loan Pronto, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
10 seconds left in the game, 93-61. Left wing McNeil, he sends up a 3 and connects. Well, you're going to have to shoot better than 7 of 29 to beat these top teams.
Oh, yeah, to beat these guys. You can't let them shoot 55.
93-64 as the coaches shake hands at half court. Duke wins at 93-64 over the Pack as we go to postgame next.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That's what it sounded like when Duke wrapped up their win over NC State, 93-64 last night. I can't help but wonder if the Will Wade media tour of this season didn't kind of culminate the wrong way last night. Remember when? It wasn't that long ago. State lost to Virginia by a bundle, and then Will Wade after the game said we're not ready to compete with the top of the ACC because they lost to Virginia, the number 2 team in the conference. And then the number 2 team lost to the number 1 team by 30, which would be maybe not 30, but darn near. Virginia losing to Duke. And then NC State had to go play the number 1 team. And, they didn't look like they were ready to compete. Oh, and on top of that, right, you told them they weren't ready to compete against the top of the league when they lost to number 2. Then they had to play number 1, so logic would say weren't ready to compete with that, but you already knew it. And then you also trotted out that kind of gimmick to try to beat them or try to level the playing field of the going to zone, trying to throw the curveball. You tried to go full Rocky right? You're gonna fight southpaw for the first bit and try to confuse them. What did you expect the team to believe? You expected them to run out there with a confidence unknown to mankind. You expected them to go out there and shock the world against statistically, analytically, one of the best teams we've seen in a long time in college basketball. You thought they were going to go out there and do that because you insulted them and told them they weren't ready to do it? I'm all for motivational tactics, and I gave Will Wade a lot of credit for trying it, but there might be time to say, you know what, that one missed. There is a time to metaphorically crack the whip, and there's a time to metaphorically pat him on the back and say, attaboy. They may have gone the wrong way on one of those, two of those, three, four of those angry rants. If you wanted to fix this year's team. I guess you could argue the other thing is it's all about just setting the standard and culture, and you're going to have a completely new team next year, and you want to be able to point back and say, I was the mean old dude last year, and if you do this, then you do that, then I'm going to be the mean old dude this year. You can just ask them. None of them are back around. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. I don't know. But I think it was obvious last night there was a team that wasn't exactly 100% confident they could win that game. And to pull off an upset, there's a bunch of different ways you can pull off an upset, right? Play great defense, play great offense, get hot from three, get the other team in foul trouble, right? A bunch of different ways. Usually, the one common thing amongst all upsets is the Cinderella believed they could, right? The underdog believed they could. Here's Will Wade on the long way his NC State Wolfpack have to go to get on Duke's level.
We've missed some 3-foot putts. And, you know, when you miss 3-foot putts and then you try to make up for it on 30-footers, it's hard to do. I mean, well, they're big games. But like I said, I mean, look, we got a long way to go to catch Duke right now. I mean, there's as good a team as I've played against. I'm not just talking about their talent. The way they operate, they're ruthlessly efficient on both ends. Coach Shire does just an incredible job. You watch the way they run to the scorer's table when they sub in. Like, everything is tight. Like, I mean, it's an impressive operation from top to bottom. And we've got, you know, we got some work to do. You know, we kind of know where the standard is now. And we've got work to do, and our eyes are wide open to try to start the chase and try to catch up. But they're a tremendous team. Great players, great coaches, just incredible. The whole operation, to see it up close, watch it on film, it's very impressive. See it up close, it's almost unparalleled from what I've seen, you know, in coaching.
I don't know why, but I feel like I need a shower. I feel like I just watched like an intimate moment between two people that didn't know I was listening or something. Like, what is going on there? They won by 30, Coach. You didn't have to. That's plenty. The scoreboard did all of the hype that you need. Run into the scorer's table. I mean, that's the good stuff right there. I don't know what Will Wade's game is on that one, right? Is that like you hope to catch them in the ACC tournament and you want them to be like almost like, oh, you're our friends. You were so nice to us. We won't beat you by that much this time. Like, I don't know what that move is. And I mean, it sounded almost wistful, right? It's like, dude, talk about your own team. Stop giving googly eyes to mine. If you're John Shire, that's an aggressive form of overhype. Let's see if Will Wade took it any differently when he was talking about his team's need to do better against the other teams that are at kind of a top or at least at their level.
We've missed some 3-foot putts. And, you know, when you miss 3-foot putts and then you try to make up for it on 30-footers, it's hard to do. And our margins are pretty thin right now. You know, we're pretty thin. We can't punch in the heavyweights right now. But the middleweights and lightweights, you know, we've let them knock us around a little bit too, and we've landed our punches in those classes too. But I mean, we're not there right now, and we've got to get there. We got to get there quick. This program deserves it. Our fans deserve it, and we're going to work extremely hard to get there and get there fast. But we're not there right now, and so we've got to, punch in our weight class better than we have. And that's been the most disappointing thing for me is everywhere we've been, we've lost games. But we've very rarely lost the ones we were supposed to win.
He is going to bring up creatively that Georgia Tech loss 9,000 times. And I'm guessing Notre Dame is now going to be added to it. Those are the 3-foot putts he was mentioning. His entire message post-game confused me. And maybe I'm just not at the motivational coaching level to understand it. I completely, I've never been a coach beyond the extremely youth level, so I can't pretend like I've been in his shoes. But my goal, or I believe a coach's goal should always be not to let a loss beat you twice, right? Like once you learn your lessons, you got to move on. And he keeps bringing up these things of the past. He keeps talking about how bad they were then. He keeps talking about, oh, we haven't done this, we haven't done that. And it's like at some point, if you keep saying it, that like every sports psychologist will tell you, if you say something enough, you'll believe it. That's why the sports psychologists of the world are so big on positive self-talk. Right? They don't want a quarterback under center going, I stink, I stink, I stink. Because if you say it enough, you'll start to stink. They don't want a golfer standing over the ball, lining up a putt going, I never make these, because you won't make it. Will Wade sitting there going, we missed 3-foot putts. What do you think we're going to do with a 30-footer? He's going, we couldn't beat the bottom of the pack. What makes you think we can compete with the top of the pack? It's like, well, if you keep saying it, it's going to be true. The players are going to start believing it. That is maybe one of the and again, I've given a lot of credit for being a mind ninja and trying to pull different strings and push different buttons. That's one of the more confusing post-game pressers I've ever heard. After you lose by 30 to a crosstown rival, like there's a moment there where I think the coach has to recognize that everybody feels bad enough about it. I've never been in a post-game locker room after a loss that felt fun. I've never been in a post-game locker room of any sport, covering it, playing in it, I don't know, stumbling into it, thinking the door was to something else. I've never been in a post-game locker room after a loss that felt fun and like the coach needed to drive you further into the dirt. Sometimes they do it anyway, but I've never felt it was needed. I mean, like Quadir Copeland was doing the pregame trash talk thing. He was standing out there jawing with everybody, and then pretty darn quick, I guess after the second media timeout, it was like, this one's over, and it's like, you got to still be out there for like 32 minutes with the team that you were talking all that trash with, as they just keep growing and growing and growing the lead. And then I don't know if you needed a lot of extra piling on to make you feel like that game stunk. Cam Boozer is over there with just shredded flesh on his arm, talking about like the Wolfpack have long claws. Yuck, 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 yuck. And yeah, I think everyone for NC State felt bad enough. Not saying it wasn't a bad game, but just saying in the interest of not making that bad game the next bad game and the next one, you got to get some confidence in your team.
Now you lost 5 of 6, 3 of them blowouts, 2 of them you blew the lead yourself, and then you beat a rival that didn't have their 2 best players.
Yep.
Those are your 5. Those are your last 6 games.
And we said going in how bad it was and how those 2 teams were going in completely different trajectories over the previous 4. I think the state players know it, right? If they're not angry about it, you got the wrong people. But that the coach can't just throw your hands up and go, wrong people. See you next year. You better keep trying. There were moments in that second half where I think the only people rooting for the clock to tick fast more than Duke, because they just wanted to get out of there and be healthy and everything else, were NC State fans and NC State coaches and NC State players that were going like, can we run and clock this bad boy? Like is this 7th grade basketball? Can we just keep it rolling?
I was there last night, sitting up there in press row, and with about 12 minutes left, I was like, oh, we're empty.
Yeah.
We're empty.
With
12 minutes left.
This is actually perfect for that story. I had some buddies that were there, and I texted them like, hey, are you at the game? And they said we were, because they had left. And I said, did the crowd turn? And they said, no, actually, it just got real quiet.
Yeah.
which is almost worse than like booing or come on. Just, no, I think I'll just sit down. I'll eat my snack in peace and try to forget the score. Like, that's such a brutal way to watch a game. I'm still going to watch Boozer. I won't tell anybody that's why I'm staying, but I'm still going to see if he gets 30. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. They have a lot of work to do before the ACC tournament. Not a lot of time left to do it. Before we move on, and we do have the previous, when I jumped the gun, mentioned 2 Minutes of Gold with Adam Gold, all about the Canes' loss last night. But before we get to that, Dennis Cox has some info for you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my good friends over at Law Tigers. Something I'm excited about. It's the spring weather. I know the pollinating and all that. It's on the way, but the warm weather is also going to be arriving here, folks. Can't wait to get out on the road on the motorcycle once again. But I know you all are in need of an opportunity to join me out there on the roads. And this is your chance, folks. You got to go to caniacsbike.com because the Law Tigers are once again teaming up with your Carolina Hurricanes to give one lucky Caniac a custom Canes Ducati motorcycle, courtesy of Art Moto Garage and Shiny Side Paint. Simple to enter. You go to caniacsbike.com. Bike will be given away live on the ice on April 4th, which is just a month away from tomorrow. Bike will be given away at that point. So if you haven't entered, why are you waiting? Go to caniacsbike.com. It literally takes a minute to get done. Do it on your phone, do it on your laptop, do it on your tablet. Doesn't matter. caniacsbike.com. Enter for your chance to win. Again, bike will be given away April 4th on the ice at the game, and it includes tickets into a catered suite as well. The deadline to enter is March 29th. Less than 4 weeks away. So enter now, caniacsbike.com. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, will bring you 2 Minutes of Gold from Adam Gold and the Dean's List right after this.
Hey, Coach, interest rates are all over. They're everywhere. How do they impact a financial plan?
Well, if you get a very low interest rate for a very long time, you're not going to have much money. So you need a higher rate, and it's not just what you earn, it's what you keep that counts. So make sure you're not losing a lot of what little interest you're getting to fees, expenses, commissions, what I call financial termites or taxation. So there's a way to set up your accounts the right way so that you get more bang for your buck. But there are better ways out there than putting your money in a CD at a bank. I think that's what you're talking about there with interest rates.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one flat fee. I mean, CDs are not the way to go for long-term growth, right?
It depends on what you want that money to do. If we're talking about your retirement savings, we have a lot better options for that will then give you a lifetime of income you can never outlive. Amanda, we call that the financial fill-up strategy. And if you don't have a financial fill-up strategy, folks, or haven't seen it, give us a call right now. And for the next 10 folks who call, we're going to put together for you your very own lifetime income plan.
919-794-7900 or text Amanda to 600-700.
Amanda Daughtry is a paid spokesperson. Investment advisory services offered by Capital Financial Advisory Group, a North Carolina registered investment advisor.
Life's great stories are built on yes and. Yes to the big game and the private suite. Yes to the beach and sailing offshore. Yes to traveling the country and exploring new ones. With the new Millionaire for Life from the North Carolina Education Lottery, you can say yes to $1 million now and every year for a lifetime. Millionaire for Life. Winning is just the beginning. Drawing 7 days a week. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 8.47. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
During Pirate Nation Gives, pirates everywhere unite to support East Carolina University. Your generosity unlocks opportunities and builds impact for our students and our state. Give March 4th at give.ecu.edu. That's give.ecu.edu.
Nikolai Ehlers with a tight turn. He'll leave it for Walker. Martinook's going to get to it behind the net. He'll turn, but pestered just enough. Loose puck finds Ehlers. He scores! You needed the leaders to come up big, and they did here. Nikolai Ehlers is 16th, and the Canes are on the board.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. If you didn't stay up until the wee hours of the morning, the Canes lost 2-1 to Seattle last night. It was a 10 o'clock puck drop in Seattle. The Canes did have about a minute and a half of a power play at the end of the game as time expired, peppering opportunities to tie it up, but they couldn't get one into the net. So it's a 2-1 loss, and their 12-game point streak dating back to well before the Olympics break came to a close. For more details and more reactions to that game. Our very own Adam Gold from here on 99.9 The Fan put together 2 minutes of gold for us.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 goals and 2 points that stayed in Seattle as the Hurricanes fell to the Kraken 2-1, and it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers, parkwaysleep.com. So all good things must come to an end, and Mama said there'd be days like this. There'd be days like this, my mama said. I think you understand the song. And it didn't go well for Carolina last night, but it did look good at the beginning for Freddie Anderson and company.
Penalty about to expire. Shot right on. Anderson makes the save. Rebound. Eberle is denied. And the Canes are able to knock it free. And Svechnikov trying to get a break. Svechnikov drags around Dunn. And now he'll be shielded off the puck there. One shot on goal for the Kraken. It came late on that power play chance. Canes penalty killers do the job.
Great save on Jordan Eberle. I actually think the rebound save was even better than the initial one. And it was an opportunity for Freddie to make consecutive starts for Carolina for the first time since Thanksgiving. No kidding. That's the last time Anderson started consecutive Hurricanes games. And this one, through one period, very good. Then in the second, it got away from Freddie a little bit.
Now Carolina, Carrier will come up with this as Nikishin with good pressure, but it'll deflect out for Kakko. Possible 2-on-1 for Seattle. Kakko drags, shoots, and scores. It gets through Frederik Andersen, and Seattle on the board first. It's 1-0 Kraken.
The initial mistake was Alexander Nikishin trying to pass the puck across rather than either shoot it or get it deep. And once Carolina gave away possession of the puck there, it became a 2-on-1 because there wasn't great coverage. And Frederik Andersen, I believe, was caught playing the pass as opposed to the shot, which is why he opened up a little bit and why there was room between the body and the blocker's side arm. And ultimately, that's the goal. So, bad play by Nikishin, not a great goal to allow from Freddie. Second goal was arguably worse on both parts because it really isn't a shot. It just sort of slides underneath Anderson on a second effort. That's bad, but Alexander Nikishin needs to play that one a lot better. Growing pains, young player, not worried about him, but he was culpable on both goals, and Anderson probably should have had both. And that, for Hurricanes fans, probably hurt them yesterday, even though, look, Carolina was good, but not good enough, and I don't know that they were ever going to score more than the one goal that they did. It's hard to win a game when you score one goal. We'll see if it goes better in Vancouver tomorrow. I trust that it will. Parkway Sleep Health Center. Sound sleep, sound health, sound off for maybe more sound sleep.
It's hard to win when you score one goal. That might be the entire thing to take away there. You can do it, but it's hard. Appreciate it from Adam for putting together 2 minutes of gold for us. Let's transition now into the Dean's List. Beautiful. We are in session. Let's give some Dean's List honorees their just due. We'll start with Triangle women's basketball.
Go on.
Duke, UNC State, all earned the double bye in the ACC tournament on the women's side of things, being played in Duluth, Georgia, beginning tomorrow. But not for the teams in the Triangle. The top-seeded Blue Devils, the third-seeded Tar Heels, and the fourth-seeded Wolfpack will all be chilling till Friday when they finally will enter in to the ACC tournament. Also number 2, Louisville, but we don't care about them as much. So all three of the 4 with the double bye in the ACC women's basketball tournament from right here in the Triangle. I think that's pretty darn cool. More Dean's List. How about former NC State head men's basketball coach Herb Sendek?
Okay.
He was named the West Coast Conference Coach of the Year.
Oh, look at that.
I believe Santa Clara, the spot where he's coaching now. But this is where the local tie comes in. He is just the third coach in Division I history to win Coach of the Year at 4 different programs in 4 different conferences. Dana Altman and Rick Pitino, the other 2. But he had won at Arizona State in the Pac-12, NC State in the ACC, Miami of Ohio in the Mid-American, and now out there in the West Coast Conference. That is it's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Of some kind. Means you're very good, but then also eventually somebody, either you or they, want to move on. But hey, 4 Conference Coach of the Year awards. That's impressive. Dennis, do you have some Dean's Listers you'd like to throw out here?
I'm going to throw Con Knippel.
Let's hear it.
The Charlotte Hornets. NBA Rookie of the Month in February. I think 4th time he's won Rookie of the Month.
I was going to say, I have some more additions for you.
So, yes, Con Knippel. I'm going to throw him on the Dean's list.
21.5 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, 2.7 assists, and a steal per game in the month of February. First Hornet to ever win 4 Rookie of the Month awards.
He's good.
Yeah. Seems to be getting better. He is now the overwhelming favorite to win Rookie of the Year.
As he should.
Passing his old teammate, Cooper Flagg. More Dean's List. Speaking of kind of records being broken, how about John Shire, Duke men's basketball coach? His win over NC State last night, their win over NC State last night, improved John Shire's record to 117-24 at Duke, which ties Butler's Brad Stevens for the most by a Division I coach in their first 4 seasons. It's impressive. And I know everyone's going to say, well, he took over Duke. Yeah. Some would even say, like, I think it's a wash. I don't think it's more difficult or less like coaching is difficult, but you know, there's a lot of guys that took over for legends that did not just keep everything rolling right along.
And it's all his guys that he recruited.
True.
They're all his guys.
Like, don't get me wrong, he didn't necessarily create the brand that he uses to recruit, but like, you know, Kentucky and UNC and a few other blue bloody teams replacing a legend, it's not always that easy to just keep winning at a ridiculously high level. So Shire makes the Dean's List. I also, speaking of UNC, I said it earlier, I want to reward loyalty on this program. Seth Trimble makes it for making it all the way to his senior day, playing at the same spot as a scholarship high recruit basketball player for 4 years. According to Isaac Trotter of 247 Sports, only 22 high major scholarship players will celebrate senior night this week, having played at just one school. 22. There's one in the SEC. One. Sean Jones Jr. at Mississippi State. Seth Trimble's doing it for Carolina, and he's going to get to give a speech. So they're bringing back the senior speeches after the game, so he's going to talk to the Chapel Hill faithful.
Can I also throw on the Dean's List UNC basketball for their senior day tradition of seniors always start?
I respect that.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. You don't see teams do it very often, but that's something that Carolina has done for years. And I'm not a Carolina fan, not a Duke fan, not a State fan. I want to make sure I clarify that, people. But I love that tradition. I genuinely do.
I saw this happening, and I don't know how I feel about it, but the high school OT guys have been, I've seen them talking. High school OT, check it out, highschoolot.com. Our colleagues here, they're kind of across the hallway from us. I saw them talk about it on social media, that one of the things high schools are starting to do are celebrating senior day not on the last home game. They're doing it like in the middle of the season because I guess they're entertaining the possibility that maybe like a championship of some kind or a seed or a playoff appearance of some kind are on the line in the last game of the year, and they don't want to risk potentially having to start the seniors until the first dead ball. That could cost them the game. So they're doing all those celebrations earlier in the year, which, like, I guess I get it as a competitor, but it feels weird.
Yeah.
Like, thank you, everybody. I had such a great time. Poured my blood, sweat, and tears into this team. Please catch us in our next 4 home games. We play again this Saturday, next Tuesday at home before the rivalry game at the end of the year to wrap everything up. Like, that's so weird. Here, Mom, here's a flower, and also I need a ride to the game 2 days from now.
Right.
Like, it just feels weird.
I know for me in college, from our senior day, for my senior class for college, we always did it the last home weekend game as opposed to the actual last home game.
Just so parents could make it.
Yeah, it's just a lot easier for people to get into town. So we actually had, I think, 2 more games after, but they were like Tuesday, Wednesday. Again, it's a lot easier for family to get into town for a Saturday game. So that was always ours. It's the last home weekend game.
So, yeah, that might be my, like, football bias because we just always did the last home game, but it was
always
a Saturday.
Yeah.
So, all right, maybe it's not as bad as I thought. All right, The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the Dean's List. Before we move on, and we still have to aware our podium, right? Which team from the state of North Carolina that is in the ACC had the best week over the last 7 days. We'll break that down, give them a gold medal. But before we do any of that, Tim Donnelly here for Bailey's Fine Jewelry. I have to be honest, all these games, these championships, they're giving out medals and trophies, and I'm always thinking, like, you should give them a watch because then they could actually wear it. How about like a bananas pre-owned or vintage Rolex like you can get at Bailey's Fine Jewelry, right? Wouldn't that be better than the ridiculous championship rings that are like wearing a nightstand on your like a table on your wrist that you're never going to wear or on your finger? No, get them something like an Omega Moonwatch, right? Go get the Speedmaster Professional, something that is iconic and they'll actually be able to wear. That's what I would do if I were a commissioner of some league that gave out championship stuff. But maybe that's just because I love watches, and I know many of you do too. So if you are somebody that understands the engineering, the innovation, the style, the fashion that goes into a luxury timepiece, you will absolutely love the Fox & Bailey Watch Shop, which is located inside Bailey's Fine Jewelry at their Village District location. You can talk with Josh, you can talk with Nicole, you can talk with any of the expert staff there, and they can help you figure out which watch is perfect for you or which watch is perfect for the person you want to give it to. Marking occasions, great use for a watch, right? Graduations, anniversaries, birth of children, whatever it is, professional milestones, marking time. It's another way to keep time and mark time. Luxury timepieces from Bailey's Fine Jewelry. Stop out at their Village District location in Raleigh and let them know you heard about it from me, Tim, right here on 99.9 The Fan. Coming up next, we have to set the podium, as I said. Who's off the podium? Bronze, silver, gold. You have to stick around to find out.
The shot, they score! Be part of the loudest house in the NHL. Win tickets to see the Carolina Hurricanes take on the Pittsburgh Penguins at Lenovo Center on Tuesday, March 10th by visiting hurricanes.com/radio and registering to win.
Hey, Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I had lost over 40 pounds. 42 pounds thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center and have maintained the weight that I've lost. That's over 15% of my body weight. And Raleigh Weight Loss Center and their program, they've helped thousands of people just like me lose anywhere from 10 to 20% of their body weight. And if you're serious about the weight loss journey, especially like for myself, a guy who's in his late 30s, losing over 40 pounds, it ain't easy. But Raleigh Weight Loss Center is there to jumpstart your metabolism, to get your body to do what it naturally can do, which is to lose weight, burn fat. No shots or injections, no steroids, no side effects, no surgeries, no pills, nothing like that. Just resetting your metabolism, again, so your body can do the natural thing. Give them a call, 919-897-7506, or visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone call. By the way, first 50 callers, get $100 off. 919-897-7506, RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Results may vary.
Jackson Hewitt knows taxes are complicated, and with multiple jobs and tax forms, they're like Sonata complicated. Our no surprise pricing keeps things simple. Jackson Hewitt does your taxes for only $149 or less. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back. So what are you waiting for? Hurry. File with Jackson Hewitt today for only $149 or less, guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
At First Carolina Bank, we pride ourselves on building relationships and doing the day-to-day things in banking extremely well. Experience the First Carolina way for yourself or your business today. Visit firstcarolinabank.com. First Carolina Bank. Member FDIC.
As Cousins has a lot of time and throws for the end zone. That's a touchdown, Falcons. Drake London all alone sitting back there.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get to the podium, I want to let all the Canes fans out there know that you can join 99.9 The Fan at Buffalo Brothers in Cary on Thursday. That's this Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. to hang out with Victoria. And that's Victoria from the Adam Gold Show, by the way. And you'll have a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Canes versus St. Louis game on Thursday, March 12th. I wonder who's going to be playing for St. Louis. Seem to be some sellers going on there. maybe someone will be playing for the Canes. Who knows?
That's true.
But the tickets are to the Canes versus St. Louis, Thursday, March 12th. And it's not just one pair of tickets you can win. Victoria will be giving away one pair of tickets every 8 minutes while she is there from 6 to 8 p.m. That's at the Buffalo Brothers in Cary this Thursday night, 6 to 8 p.m. A pair of tickets being given away every 8 minutes. And we'll have a pair of tickets to give away on this show later today. But you're going to have to tune in. I'm not going to tell you exactly when. Just going to have to keep listening. With that being said, let's jump into the podium. Everybody's making their way. There you go, marching in. All right. Well, all the competitors make their way in here onto the podium with the drive. This is a one-week award, and it goes to one of, or actually all of them will be somewhere, either off the podium, bronze medal, silver medal, or gold medal, to the 4 teams from the state of North Carolina in the ACC. At this time of year, we're judging men's basketball. And at this time of year, I don't know if we've ever had a easier. That person's off the podium. NC State is off the podium. They had 3 games since our last podium. They lost at Virginia 90-61. They lost at Notre Dame 96-90 in overtime. Notre Dame is one of the bottom feeders in the ACC, fighting to make the ACC tournament. Might not even do that. And then last night they lost versus Duke in the Lenovo Center, 93-64. Those are 3 losses that, for different reasons, are wildly frustrating and I'm sure quite disappointing for State fans out there. I mean, I guess the UVA and Duke ones are similar in that top team in the ACC beat you by probably more than you thought was acceptable. Each of those games, if they're, 5, 6, 7-point losses, you might even walk away going, all right, we proved we belong. 30 points or whatever they end up being, 29, that you walk away going, I don't think we can't even squint and close one eye and squint with the other and try to see the positive. That's just a bad game. The Notre Dame game is rough because of the collapse at the end. You had it. It was in your grasp. You just had to make literal one more play the last 3 minutes, and you couldn't do it. So they're off the podium. Bronze goes to Wake Forest. They probably matched State as far as like the worst loss of the week for anybody. Their bad one was at Boston College, which is another bottom feeder in the ACC, and they actually kind of got smoked. They lost by darn near 20 points. That's rough. But they bounced back in their next game and beat Syracuse 88-83. So I don't want to say it dulls the loss against Boston College at all. That's one that, Steve Forbes and his crew are going to want back, especially when you consider in that game, what was it, like a big Juke Harris game, right? He scored a bundle. There's some definite feelings of you're wasting a pretty cool Juke Harris season. So the Syracuse one was nice, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't exactly dull the edge of the BC loss, just puts you on the bronze. Silver goes to Carolina. They did not have a lot of opportunities this week. They only had 1 game scheduled, but they took care of business. It was what I described as a win by any means necessary game, beating Virginia Tech at home, and that's exactly what they did. It was a high-scoring game, probably not their best defense, but between Seth Trimble, Henry Vasar, they got 46 points. Got good scoring off the bench. Jonathan Powell, I think most notably, they put up 89. That's like actually kind of an old school Carolina deal, right? Get up and down, put some points up, win a little bit of a shootout, and against a good team. Virginia Tech is a team that probably has bubble aspirations and hope to make a run in the ACC tournament to get on the correct side of that bubble. So 89-82, it's a good win. It's their only opportunity. Gold, I mean, it has to go to Duke. They beat Notre Dame by 44. They beat UVA by a bundle. And then they went on the road, cross town, to NC State and won that one by a bundle. And I think each of those games actually gave them a little bit of practice at something that could help them in the ACC tournament and NCAA tournament. Notre Dame, I think it's killer instinct, right? They were up early and they just kept the pedal to the floor. UVA, that's a team that brings size, which, Duke is big overall, but they don't have like a true like shot blocking 7-footer Gungwa's playing really well, but he's not that stereotype. And then State, they got a whole bunch of zone, right? Which is, who knows? Maybe someone will try to pull that trick on them in the NCAA tournament, and now they just saw zone for a bulk of a game.
Yeah, and they handled it quite well.
Yeah, it took them a few times up and down to get their bearings, but once they did, it was a wrap. It helps when like Dame Sarr is knocking down threes at a high clip, and obviously Isaiah Evans has been shooting well since their loss to Carolina. We'll talk about it later, but if they're shooting the three well, good luck. There's not a lot of options you have there. So they're the gold medalist. That one's fairly obvious. You can nitpick maybe the bronze, silver. Nah, probably not. I actually think this is a pretty straightforward gold, silver, bronze off the podium. So we'll let it rock that way. As always, once we're done with the podium, we look towards the mid-majors and the lower divisions in the state of North Carolina. We find a team that's having a particularly good week and give them the gold star. Dennis, who gets the gold star?
We actually have stars. We're giving out stars.
Okay.
Gold stars.
Everybody
this week.
gets one.
No. These teams earned their stars. We mentioned it yesterday on the Dean's List, where they get a gold star. Winston-Salem State women's basketball wins the CIAA. Conference champions wins the CIAA.
Well earned.
On the men's side of the CIAA, Fayetteville State wins the CIAA. So they're going dancing too, both in Division II. Then
Shout
on the
out to
men's
Fayetteville
side,
State.
that's also on the men's side of college basketball. North Carolina Wesleyan, located out there in Rocky Mount, USA South men's champions going dancing in Division III as well. So we got 3 conference champions crowned this past weekend, Tim. So 3 gold stars.
Champions. Banners hang forever. Or at least when they add another number to like the conference championship, sometimes they don't put up the whole new banner. They just put like 2025 up there, 2026. But that hangs forever.
Hey, it's up there.
Hangs forever. Congratulations. And
all gold stars for them.
And job not finished.
Job not finished.
Go make some noise in the big tourney. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. That is the podium and the gold star that we award here every Tuesday, by the way. So the clock has already started. The grading term has already begun for next week's podium, which means UNC versus Clemson tonight. Senior Day will be a part of this upcoming week's podium body of work that we are judging. And not right now, but remember, we do have a pair of tickets to the Canes game against St. Louis Thursday, March 12th that we will be giving away at some point on today's show. If you want to win, you just have to continue listening. At some point, I will let you know to call in. I'll give you the number. We'll do the whole thing. Not right now, but it is going to happen today during the show, I promise you. Coming up next, we have football at 4. We are very, very close to free agency opening up. Who should the Panthers be targeting next?
To 15-year-old Harper, buying an $80 vintage rock t-shirt is a great investment. To Harper's mom, this logic has a few holes in it. So she helped Harper open a Wells Fargo Clear Access banking account. With no overdraft fees and tools to track spending, Harper's learning, one heavy metal tee at a time. However you make money work, Wells Fargo can work with that.
Terms apply. Visit wellsfargo.com/deposit disclosures for fees and details.
Breathe in, breathe out. The average person does that 20,000 times a day. At WakeMed, we think that's 20,000 good reasons to check your lung health by taking our free online lung health assessment. It's just a few minutes, and who knows, it could save your life. So do yourself and your lungs a favor. Go to wakemed.org today and take the assessment. Once you do, you'll breathe a lot easier.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
You got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... let's go again, y'all.
With
24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13, and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm. Injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to RitchieLaw.com.
That's RitchieLaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
I'm WRAL meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Gray skies for the rest of the day today, a little breezy with high temperatures in the mid to upper 50s. We'll hold it fairly mild overnight tonight with a low of 50 degrees. And tomorrow we start a big warm up. You'll notice it. Our highs will be in the mid to upper 70s under partly cloudy skies.
4 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones down 419 points to 48,481.
Let's move the chains. Time for football at 4.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. It is time for football at 4. We are 6 days away from the dumbest thing in the NFL, the legal tampering period, which is not when free agency opens up, but it's when you're allowed to agree to terms, and you get all the vaguely worded insiders saying this player and team Z have come to the logical conclusion that he will be playing the next 4 years of football for X amount of dollars. What
have agreed upon a deal.
Yeah, agreed upon. They've reached a deal. It's all March 9th is essentially when free agency opens up. It's when teams start penciling in, if not even writing in ink, their signees. They can't actually sign until March 11th, which is that legal tampering period. But for all intents and purposes, it opens March 9th.
It's the agreeing to terms period.
And if we're being real, it probably starts a little bit before that.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the, I guess, illegal tampering period.
That's where an agent talks to, or a general manager talks to an agent and says, you know, we might be in the market for a player that's around 27 years old, is an off-ball linebacker that fits this physical profile. You know what? I think I might potentially have a client that could fit. You know what? I'll get back to you about that.
I'm so glad that you called about player that is currently on our roster, who is a offensive guard. While I have you on the phone, I'm just going to think out loud. Cornerbacks are nice. Then they're 6'1", 185. Oh, I happen to have one of those. Also signed to my agency. That's not who I was talking about specifically, but we can continue.
But hey, news can happen. Like, for example, 3 minutes ago, the Arizona Cardinals have informed Kyler Murray they are releasing him.
And actually,
speaking of adding to the free agent market,
there are quite a few of the bigger dominoes are going to get the details with their former teams out of the way, or be locked up by their former teams. Daniel Jones got the transition tag earlier today, which means if you want to sign him, it's basically a restricted free agent, right? Like you can sign him to whatever deal you want, but the Colts can match and keep him. Or if you do get him, I believe there's picks that you would have to send back in exchange for him. Then you get the kind of the hey, let's just clean our hands of each other and move on, like Kyler Murray. Reportedly, that's what Seattle and Kenneth Walker, the running back, did also earlier today / last night. They kind of gave the final, it's not going to work. Good luck to you. Thanks for the Super Bowl MVP. And we'll see where all that goes. I think the Panthers and Panther fans specifically have already, like, you guys have done all of the crazy big talking about the crazy big free agents. Like, I'm not going to sit here and go, they should look into Trey Hendrickson. The guy that led the NFL in sacks 2 years ago, and you're a team that desperately needs pass rush? Bet you hadn't thought about that happening. No, but I've done some digging, and I thought we could come up with a few players that are maybe under the radar a little bit that likely will not cost as much as those top shelf items, that the Panthers in this next 6, 7, 8 days are likely doing a deeper dive into to see if it is someone that they would like to pursue, somebody if they want to reach out to. So Dennis, you can sound in on these, you can add, you can do whatever you see fit. What about Malcolm Kuntz, Raiders edge, meaning edge rusher?
Okay.
This is a player who I think you can get on a discount who might be another lotto ticket at edge rusher. The lotto ticket might not even be the right word. I think you want as many swings as you possibly can at hitting your home runs at edge rusher. Malcolm Kuntz for the Raiders had 8.5 sacks back in 2023, then missed all of 2024 with a knee injury, the entirety of 2024. And then this past year, which notoriously, especially for explosive athletes, your first year back from a serious knee injury, you're not exactly yourself. He had 4.5 sacks this year. So if you bank on kind of that 18 to 24 months is where you really hit your stride, you're back to being explosive, you're back to being able to bend and cut and everything the way you should, he may be somebody that's due for a double-digit sack season.
He had 3.5 of those sacks in the last 7 games of the season.
I didn't even know that, but that would indicate that there's health being created, right? He's being made
stronger
more healthy
as time went along.
And he's still just 27 years old.
Yeah.
So, right, the 8.5 sack season would have been like 25, 26, right when you're coming into your own. The injury took a part of his prime, but he's still within it if he gets back to kind of the level that he was. So that's an interesting one. Just kind of another option who might help you. If it gets too expensive, you go, thank you, that's too rich for my blood, and you bail. But if the injury, the age, the maybe lack of overall raw statistics makes him a little bit cheaper, I think that's one that the Panthers should look into. Next on my list, Caden Ellis, Falcons linebacker.
Yeah.
Over 100 tackles each of the last 3 seasons, right? And he's an off-ball backer, which is a position of need for the Panthers. I thought this was interesting. ESPN, I believe it was Bill Barnwell, called him the best, or might be the best blitzing inside linebacker in the league right now. The reason why I love that is the Panthers need a pass rush. And I was imploring them to be creative, to use guys like Trayvon Merrick and others that have a little bit of juice, right? Have a little bit of dynamic ability. Trayvon Merrick being a kind of safety, but a definite in-the-box, comfortable safety. If you have a middle linebacker or an off-ball backer that can give you, it doesn't have to be $1 billion, can give you 4.5 sacks because he's a great blitzer and you can threaten teams with that and maybe free up some other guys to face less double teams because you got to keep a guard with his eye on the second level. That's huge. And then, yeah, do I get a little extra jolt of dopamine for taking a player away from the Falcons in the division? Absolutely. Especially when you Google Caden Ellis' name, and one of the first things that pops up is Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich saying that replacing Ellis would take, quote, more than one human being. So if their defensive coordinator loves him, I want to take him even more, right? Like I want him on our side. So there's an edge. There's an off-ball backer. I'll give you one more. A wide receiver. How about Rashid Shaheed? Wide receiver that was traded to Seattle, helped Seattle win a Super Bowl, mostly with his work as a returner and a kind of gadget rushing player, but has shown the ability to be a big play threat as a receiver. Only had about 22 receiving yards per game as a Seahawk, which I think might, or I'm hoping, right, wishful thinking, might hold down his cost a little bit. Because as much as people love returners, they usually don't get paid huge amounts. You get paid for what you do as a receiver. But I would love to see him with an offense that can utilize his skill set. I think you would use him as a returner for the Panthers. That's a place where they have not had like a lot of dynamic ability in recent years, and occasionally have people that have a hard time catching punts back there returning punts. So if Shaheed is comfortable doing that, I'm with it. But mostly I'm excited because he's a really nice complement without a ton of skill set overlap with McMillan and Coker. could potentially be, granted, a probably more expensive version, but what you wanted Xavier Legette to be, just with like less abs and less funny comments at the podium. That's not a bad thought. I think most people are kind of underwhelmed by what he did in Seattle, but I think Seattle got him for like the 3 plays that he made on their run to a Super Bowl, and it worked perfectly. They had Jackson Smith and Jigba, they had Cooper Kupp, they had these other guys. They didn't need him as much in the pass game. I think with more opportunity, he could do more with the Panthers.
I don't hate that. Speed.
And there's a billion ways to get it. There's some, I think, good speed in the middle rounds of the draft. I think there's some good speed in the free agency market. Rashid Shaheed might be like the top option. That might be like the luxury car edition. But if it's not going to cost you that much because of everything I just said, I'd consider it. If he's like $1 million or $2 million more than a more run-of-the-mill speed guy, I'd be interested in that, right? Like per year. I'd be interested in that. So those were the 3 that I think, without kind of breaking the bank, maybe a little under the radar, perhaps, you don't want to spend for the Trey Hendrickson or the, super duper top of the market prices. I think you can get some really good players that can fill positions of need in free agency. Those 3 that I mentioned, Malcolm Kuntz, Raiders edge rusher, Caden Ellis, Falcons linebacker, Rashid Shaheed. If he comes with the Panthers, I'll have to work on saying that. Rashid Shaheed from Seattle. And then what that allows you to do is go much more best player available in the draft, because you kind of, at least with temporary fixes, have placed some players who I think you could depend on in some of your more important positions.
I'm with you. So I know Chris Lee and I on Panthers Playbook a while back talked about Rashid Shaheed and about how just, he could be a perfect complementary guy to go along with McMillan and Jalen Coker. Like you said, someone that has a legit threat to stretch the field, and he also can return kicks, so he can be alongside Travis Etienne, so you can have those 2 out there in the backfield. I'm sorry, in the return game as well. So there are a lot of different guys that you mentioned that I liked. Ellis is another one, but here's the thing: Ellis is 30. We have seen Dan Morgan in the front office shy away a little bit from the older free agents, at least in terms of what they're paying. They typically go for the guy that's 25, 26, 27 that still has upside in the prime of their years over the next 3 years. So Ellis is 30, but I know early part of his career he was mostly a special teams player, so there might be still some tread on the tire. But I don't mind a guy like, actually I don't hate the idea. I actually like the idea of a guy like Ellis coming in and being with the team for at least a couple of seasons. I don't hate it at all.
I see, it's not an exact comparison. I see some Frankie Louvu in his game.
Yeah.
Which
I'm okay with that.
Frankie Louvu started as a guy that was just trying to make the roster, special teams contributor, and then the more and more and more opportunities he got, the more and more and more you learned that, he's got a versatile skill set that can do a little bit of everything, right? This is a guy that gets after the quarterback. It's a guy that gets a boatload of tackles, tosses in some pass breakups and things. Like he can do a little bit of everything. And like maybe this isn't even like a positive, but it's just a fact of life. Traditionally, if you play against a guy a lot, you know how good he is, and you're a little infatuated with getting them on your team. And with him being in Atlanta for the last 3 years, Panthers are going to be very, very aware of what he brings to the table.
I know the Panthers are going to have to be pretty strategic because they don't have a ton of cap space. Like, they have a decent amount, but they don't have a ton. And again, they can create more if they want to restructure like Derek Brown or J.C. Horn. Couple of guys, but also, again, A'Shawn Robinson could get let go, Tommy Tremble. You can find some ways to get some money. But we have seen Dan Morgan the last couple of years and Brant Tillis. They're willing to pay on the high end of the market for the non-traditional, like non-premium positions, which allows them to go draft a guys like Umamiela and Nick Scorton on day 2. I wonder if they continue that trend, because paying high end for an off-ball linebacker isn't as expensive as paying the top dollar for an edge rusher. So it could allow them to, hey, we could be the high end at off-ball linebacker and strong safety and at the interior or offensive line and beef up those areas, and then draft the edge rusher, the outside linebackers, those kinds of guys. I'm curious if we're going to see Dan Morgan continue to go that route.
Just for I wanted to make sure I had the numbers correctly. According to overthecap.com, The Panthers, in simple restructure, can make $71.6 million in cap space, which would open up $76 million and basically $100,000. So $76.1 million in cap space is potentially there. Granted, restructures does mean kicking a lot of that salary cap into the future, and it who knows what it does to next year's cap and beyond.
Yeah.
But if they wanted to, if there was that piece that they felt was, quintessential, necessary, they can make some cap space with just a couple signs of the pen.
And you want to restructure the contracts of guys that you know are going to be around long term. Like J.C. Horn restructure, he's going to be long term. Derek Brown, if you want to restructure, he's going to be around long term. But do you want to restructure the contract of like Bobby Brown III? Like, who's only got 2 more years left on his deal? Like, do you want to push that again to next year? Like, so again, it's all kind of relative in terms of that.
Yeah, and we've seen it happen a bunch of times. There are guys that are deciding right now. The Tua Tagovailoa, like the quarterbacks, you can restructure and really mess yourself over. Deshaun Watson. Yeah. I don't think that would happen with J.C. Horn or Derek Brown, which is why you see it. And by the way, that's not the just last point I'll make on it. That's not the player like sacrificing the money.
No. They get paid.
They get it up front. They just get the cash now, and then they can spread out the cap hit over time. For a long time, Tom Brady benefited from some weird PR where it was like, he restructured again? What a saint. He just wants to win. And it's like, he's just getting the cash earlier. He's not giving it back.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the salary cap is the dumbest thing in the NFL.
The one downside of the restructures, potentially, is that if you do sign Bryce to a long-term extension after this season, when those restructures, when those cap hits hit, is also when Bryce Young's extension also could be kicking in as well in a couple of years. So that's the thing. You can only kick the can down the road so far, knowing you potentially might be paying someone $50+ million a year.
Correct.
All things to think about.
You said Bryce Young $50 million a year, and I shook a little bit.
Yeah, no, trust me. I trembled saying it.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, I want to tell you all about Miller Lending. Tim Donnelly here for Miller Lending. Matter of fact, let's talk about just hearing numbers and trembling. Sometimes that happens when you hear the interest rates. Sometimes that's what happens when the interest rates start going back up, right? If they start dropping a little and you're like, well, wait, no, they're going to keep going down. We'll wait. No, we'll get our mortgage when it's at its absolute bottom. But you have no idea when it's going to be at the bottom. So then all of a sudden it starts going up. And you go, all right, we'll wait for him to go back down. All of a sudden they keep going up. Oh, we'll wait for him. Now you're trembling. We'll wait for him to go back down. Here's what you do, okay? To prevent all of that trembling, all of that scared, all of that fright, call Miller Lending and get a no closing cost loan. No closing cost. All those costs and fees that scare you out of getting your mortgage now or scare you out of refinancing, get a no closing cost loan. That way, if rates keep going down, you're not mad because you missed out on the bottom of the market. You refinance. You grab that rate again with no closing costs. And if rates do turn around and go back up, rather than trembling because you're so mad at yourself, you're excited because you did lock it in at the bottom of the market with a no closing cost loan. And if they can't turn around and come back down, you'll refinance with no closing costs. It gives you the flexibility. That's all you need. So give them a call. Ask more. 919-447-3377. That's 919-447-3377. Or visit them online at millerlending.com. Once again, that is millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 250-2146. We'll take a break. When we come back, a little copper drop action, some Canes trade talk. We are almost to the NHL trade deadline. Stick around.
Listen for the Get That Out of Here's.
Rejection! Cameron Boozer got a piece! Get that out of there!
The deep looks from downtown.
Arsenault, pull up three, top of the arc.
Buries it! They got postered.
Shot is up, missed, hammer time! Put back jam by Lubin.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9. The Fan, driven by Fast Park and Relax, Chapel Hill Tire and Roof Works.
Jackson Hewitt handles your taxes and your stress. Inhale our no surprise price of $149 or less. Exhale, paying more for complicated taxes. You won't. Inhale new tax law knowledge. Exhale, missing out on your biggest refund? Certainly not. Don't miss paying $149 or less. Rest easy. Jackson Hewitt's got your taxes. Guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on Federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's the best time of the year for college basketball, and Buffalo Brothers is a slam dunk. Best place in the Triangle to watch all the big games. They always have great drink specials, and check this out. Every Monday, half-price wings all day. That's half-price wings all day Monday. Dine in only. Now that's a deal, baby. Check out any of their 5 Triangle locations or online at buffbrothers.com. Aw, man! Now I want wings.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to A to Z Savings, our biggest sale of the year.
Happy to be here. Can I get some rotors?
Would you like brake pads with that?
How much are the brake pads?
Free with Duralast rotors.
Free. Really?
Really? Free.
I also need some oil.
Would you like an oil filter with that?
Yeah. How much is that?
Free with the oil.
Free. Really?
Really. Free. It's part of A to Z Savings with hundreds of deals.
From A to free.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Ends March 9th. Restrictions apply.
This is The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. There is, I would say, a trickle of NFL news coming out today. Faucet hasn't opened completely, no gigantic trades or anything. I'd say same is true in the NHL, right? You're hearing more rumors than anything. Maybe a underwhelming trade between a couple of teams that we don't cover. But if anything drastic happens, we'll let you know.
So last year at this point, up to the trade deadline, there have already been 6 trades that were made. There have only been 2 in the NHL that have been made. Last year was 6.
Interesting.
So it's been kind of quiet. So I think one of the reasons why, we can dive into this a little bit later on, but the long-term IR benefit that teams used to take advantage of in the past is no longer fully there. So teams that used to be like, oh, you know what, we're just going to stash a couple guys on long-term IR, free up all this cap space, acquire some guys, and when the playoffs get here, salary cap doesn't exist in the playoffs. Now we have this stacked roster. You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, there's no reason no longer the reason. You can just go, oh, if so-and-so is going to be hurt for another month or 2, might as well just sit him down the rest of the regular season. Then we can go sign as many rentals as we need with all of their cap money.
Yep.
And they'll all be available in the postseason.
Can't do that anymore.
That loophole has been closed, which one of my favorite things about the NHL is in every other sport, like, oh, dumb thing about a loophole pops up, and they're like, well, when we renegotiate the CBA in 2084, we'll go ahead and do our best to close up that loophole. In the NHL, it's like, dumb thing pops up, everyone looks around, goes, that's dumb. Hey, this offseason, let's fix it. And they get it fixed pretty darn quick, which I like about the NHL a ton. That's why their cap makes sense, and so many other things just are a bit more logical. But that's neither here nor there. Like Dennis said, that's a conversation for another day. My point being, nothing earth-shattering happening in the free agency market in the NHL which is on Friday. So, everybody can exhale and enjoy a game of Copper Drop.
You want true enlightenment? Well, I'm dropping.
All right, next one is first one. First one here. NC State got smoked last night against Duke.
Yes, they
men's
did.
Basketball. Copper Drop, NC State men's basketball plays in Dayton as part of the play-in games. Copper Drop. It's like an 11 seed.
I still think they don't. I'm dropping it. I think they make the traditional first weekend of the tournament. I don't know if I agree with it. The advanced metrics still really like NC State, and I think it's one of the few things the committee points to where they go like, it's not me. Look, it's them. The numbers told me this. That's not to say they're going to be like a 7 seed, right? Let's not get carried away. You still got to win games occasionally, which they haven't really been doing as of late. But the stats that they are allowed to bring into the committee meetings still like NC State more than a lot of the other bubble teams. And they're not even, I don't even think they're necessarily called a bubble team yet. So I think they make it. I think they end up just, a traditional round of 64 entry into the NCAA tournament. Who knows how long they'll be there once they get there, but I still think they avoid Dayton.
All right, next one up here, speaking of college basketball, cop or drop. UNC men's basketball, which has a massive game tonight against Clemson. Cop or drop. UNC men's basketball will be a 4 seed or better in the NCAA tournament. Cop or drop.
Gosh, we need Max Gorin. Where's Max Gorin when you need him?
Where's our Maxtology? Maxitology.
Maxitology? I
Yes.
got to work on saying that too.
Maxitology.
4 seed? I don't.
4 seed or better.
I'm bad with math. Let's see. They are 4 seed or better, meaning 4 seed are like 2, 3.
4, 3, 2, 1, yeah.
I'm thinking 5.
Okay.
I'm thinking
You're gonna
5.
drop it?
I'm dropping it. 4 or 5 might be the appropriate answer, but 5. Unless the committee gives them a bigger boost for, like, hey, Caleb Wilson is back, and they just assume, like, he fixes all of their problems. I still think they have some problems. I don't think they're flawless. I think they're better now than they were. If Caleb Wilson comes back and he's healthy and he's in rhythm, I think they're better now than they were when he got hurt. But I still think they have some flaws that the committee might point out, unless they give Caleb Wilson a lot of credit for just solving it all. So yeah, 5. I think they're comfortably in. I think they're doing okay, but not top 16 team in the country. Okay, that's, I think, a little aggressive.
Right now, in Joe Lunardi's latest bracketology on ESPN, as of today, he has UNC as a 6 seed. But a win against Clemson, maybe another win against Duke, that could vault you very, very high.
Also, I don't know how to do this. I don't know if this is allowed. I think if you are an ACC team and you get the double bye, you should get credit for, like, a win. Like, you should, like, I always feel like, not bad, but it doesn't make sense to me when a team earns their way straight to the, third day of the tournament, and then they might lose their first game and they get just no boost. And I'm going like, well, they could have beaten the teams that played the first 2 days. Or have you seen, what is it, the Sun Belt tournament?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen the Sun Belt tournament bracket?
No, it's kind of weird though.
It's outlandish. There's 2 new teams entering in every day for like 7 days. So the 2 bottom seeds in the bracket would have to beat a fresh team like the bottom 4, right? Whoever wins their first day, 2 games, would have to beat a fresh team every day for like 7 days to make the championship. The bracket looks absolutely ridiculous.
I'm looking at it right now. So yeah, the 12 and 13 seeds play each other, then the 14 and 11 seeds play each other, and then it's just the 8 and the 9 and the 10 come in, then it's the 8 and the 7, then it's the 5 and the 6, and it's the 4 and the, good Lord.
So if you are the 1 or the 2 seed,
you're in the semis.
You could win the whole thing with
2 wins.
2 wins. If you're the 13 or 14 or 11, 12, 13 or 14 seed, you'd have to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with 6 of them against fresh legs. It's the most ridiculous thing ever, but
I kind of don't hate it.
It's wild.
I kind of don't hate it.
But you like the top seeds should get something for not having to play until the semis. Like they lose in the semis, and it's like they never were there to the committee. They just got 1 loss. It seems crazy, but that's neither here nor there.
You know what? I'm for this. All right, cop or drop. Let's go to Duke basketball here real quick. We all just going to assume they're going to be a number 1 seed, possibly the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. Cop or drop. Duke men's basketball gets to the Final Four in Indianapolis.
I saw this today.
That they actually get there. Cop or drop.
I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. The odds, like sportsbook odds, for Duke to make it to the Final Four are something crazy. Hold on. I'm almost there. They're minus 170 to make it to the Final Four.
Really?
That's outlandish. Michigan minus 160 as well. So there's some very obvious, like, whoa, they expect them to be there. I don't like that number. That's disrespectful of how difficult it is to make a Final Four, that anybody would be minus 170. So I forget what I was copying or dropping. What was it?
Just that they get to the Final Four.
I still think it's better to take the field. And that's not, like, if you make me pick a team to make the Final Four, I think I'd take Duke. Like, if you make me pick the most likely. But if it's Duke or everyone else in their region, without even knowing who their region is, I think you got to go with the field, right? So,
boring.
Yeah, it is. But, I mean, obviously others would take Duke. Minus 170. That's outlandish. But also shows how impressive they are, and it shows how, they and Michigan way more often than not have good games. They don't really have bad games, which is part of the challenge of the tournament is, there are a lot of really good teams that don't win the championship because every 5 games, they have a clunker, and it only takes one. But if you're consistent, that sets you up pretty good. And both of those teams are pretty darn consistent.
Yeah, I think that their 2 losses this season for Duke are buzzer beaters.
Texas Tech and UNC.
Yeah, that's it. Buzzer beaters. That is it. All right, next one up here. Let's actually go to the NFL real fast for the Carolina Panthers. Cop or drop? The Carolina Panthers will draft an offensive lineman in the first 2 days of the draft. Cop or drop?
Offensive lineman in the first 2 days.
Rounds 1, 2, or 3.
I am copping. I read I apologize. I can't give the proper bibliography here, but it was an article I liked. I read an article on the offensive tackles in the draft, and they convinced me that there are 7 offensive tackles that could be taken in the first round. 7. And then there's likely not another tackle that is going to have a day 2 grade. So, you got 7 that'll be first round or early second if they, depending on how the needs and everything align. And then you got a big gap. As soon as I heard that, I went, I bet the Panthers aren't going to make it past that tier break without one of them. Because Ike Ekwonu, I'm not willing to, with that injury and his size and perhaps how he had been not like at the top of the league already when appearingly healthy. I don't think they're willing to depend on Icky with the injury for an entire year again. With that being said, you probably want, if you're going to start a young guy, you want it to be a dude. You don't want to be scraping the bottom of the barrel. If there's 7 dudes, I think they walk away with one of them. Maybe it's a trade up or trade down situation. But I think they get one on either day 1 or early day 2.
All right, we actually have a couple here that are Carolina Hurricanes related.
Okay.
Actually, our good friend Micah
Micah
chimed in and had a couple copper drop questions regarding the Carolina Hurricanes, which I thought are actually very good, legit questions. First one, copper drop. Canes had a goalie before the deadline. Copper drop.
I'm dropping. And not because I don't think they'll entertain it, but because I've said it a billion times. Goalies just don't become available. I know some people like Bobrovsky could be available. I don't think the Canes are going to pay what it would take.
Astronomical.
And yeah, I just don't see something crazy like that happening. Like a Binnington maybe becomes more likely, and St. Louis is obviously selling everybody. But I just don't. I think this is all reading tea leaves here, no insider information. I think the Canes look at other parts of their roster as areas where they can improve more than goalie, especially for the price it would take to bring in an improvement at goalie. So, no, I don't think they buy a goalie.
All right, his second one here is this. Cop or drop. Logan Stankoven is the Canes' number 2 center after the trade deadline. Cop or drop.
I'm dropping. I think they have to do something at center.
Okay.
And I think that, by the way, I like Logan Stankoven. I think they move him now back to his more traditional spot on the wing. And it can weirdly improve a bunch of positions, right? If you bring in a 2C, you improve 2C. You kick Logan out to a wing, you improve a wing. Whoever he displaces, you bump down to, who knows, a 4th line. Now you've improved there. Like, there's a lot of improvement that you can kind of push around. So, I want to emphasize, not insulting Logan Stankoven. I think they do improve 2C. And with that being said,
It's going to cost a lot.
Could. It
No,
could.
It will. It will cost a lot.
Do you know what's happening weirdly? And actually, we can talk about this. And you can tell me if you're seeing the same shift that I'm seeing. In the last 2 days, I feel like it's gone from a seller's market to a buyer's market aggressively.
Yeah, we're seeing that from some of the insiders saying that.
You know, before the Olympic break, I was going, everybody's over 5. There's like 5 teams that are below 500 in the NHL. Everybody thinks they're still in it. Nobody is going to sell. Or even teams that should sell, from my perspective, are going to be tempted by if we go on a 6-game win streak, we could be right back in this thing, and maybe are a little reluctant to sell, to now everybody's just kind of slowly hinting like, there's a lot of guys on the market. There's people are asking for the moon and the stars on some of these players, and they're not going to get it because there are a bunch of other options out there. Now, that's not to say like you're going to get a center for scraps, but we played a blind ranking earlier in the week or last week, and we did like just trade deadline options, and there were 4 guys between the age of 32 and 34 that were all seen as decent centers. That were all, I wouldn't even say like the premier options on the market this year at that position. That's a lot of guys, right? Now, you're going to have to pay, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if the price will be as astronomical if you play your cards right and you find whichever center is left after musical chairs that doesn't have a spot. And actually, that leads into something I want to talk about here. So we can cut copper drop and move to this. Eric Tulsky, he's fascinating to me, right? The Canes GM, he owns 27 patents. He plays the phones like he's I don't know, some like a 90s teen, and he's always using the phone lines. Can you get off the phone for 1 second? He's always on the phones. We don't hear from him often, and I think he kind of, for lack of a better term, beats to his own drum, right? Beats to his own rhythm a little bit. He surprises me a lot of the time. So I'm trying to, right? If you want to catch a crook, you got to think like a crook. If you want to predict a GM, you might have to think like that GM. I took some time today and I said, like, what would catch me off guard? Which takes a lot off the table, because by this point in a trade season, we've talked about everything, right? By this point in the trade season, we've entertained every gosh darn option. And if I haven't, there's some list online of top 100 trade targets for the Carolina Hurricanes. And it's just got them all listed. Like it's difficult to go completely off the beaten path. So I threw some together here, and we have a couple minutes here, so I think this could be fun. I worked hard to find a center that I hadn't seen suggested to me on Twitter that could maybe have some possibility. Dennis, what do you think about Ottawa's Dylan Cousins? 6'3", 205, 25 years old.
I don't see Ottawa moving him, though.
I think you'd have to pay.
Ottawa's looking to buy, in my eyes.
Well, they're 3 or 4 spots outside the wild card. There's a possibility. I'm trying to do the thing that would surprise us.
Yeah, it definitely would.
And that name I haven't seen, so I threw that one out there.
He's long-term at 7.1.
There's something there. There's something there. It feels like a Canes, bet you didn't see this coming, kind of move.
He's got 20 goals, 26 assists.
Yep, and doing some things. Again, you'd have to pay now, but I did kind of start my search with I wanted a center, and I wanted somebody whose height starts with a 6 and weight starts with a 2, and I worked backwards from there. And I just wondered if Ottawa might consider it. You'd have to make it worth their while, but might consider it. How about this one? And you would see this guy coming, not because I've seen him on any list, but because he's gigantic. One of the things the Canes are kind of, I don't know, maybe stereotyped to do is go shuffle up like a 4th line center or the 13th forward, somebody that they see value in. What about Michael McCarron from Nashville?
Oh, I actually don't hate that.
6'6", 232 pounds. Plays with a little bit of that edge you're looking for.
Oh, yeah.
Good on faceoffs, by the way, which seems to always matter. Can kill penalties, by the way, which is something that, Canes seem to always be interested in. And if you're not going to have a lot of big forwards, you could get one that just ups the average to where he cancels out like Blake, Stankoven, and Jarvis by being 6'6", 232. And fourth line centers, Nashville, I think the price might not be killer there. And I liked your reaction to that one. That was one you were in on? Had you seen that before?
I had not seen it, but
Okay,
I thought
good.
about it. He's also super inexpensive because
Exactly.
I think he's only making $900,000. So he's not going to be expensive at all. He's not here's the thing, though, about McCarron that you have to be cautious about with him. He's not the most fleet of foot skater.
No.
And one thing that you have to be cautious about is in that situation, do you want that guy that's maybe not be a very elite skater or very fleet of foot? Yes, big guy, physical. But if he can't skate in a man-on-man system, especially, for example, there's an icing of the puck and his line's out there, the other team's going to bring their top dudes out there, and he gets stuck on his defensive end, that's bad news for Carolina possibly. So that is something to be cautious of. I do like some of the elements of what he can bring. I don't know if he can skate the way Carolina needs him to.
I agree on all of that, which is why I think it would be a surprise. It would be them saying, we're going to sacrifice some of our core values in this signing to bring something that we don't have, which would be the muscle, right? Which would be that dude. It'd be different. And then lastly, and this one is more ha, because I did see this on a list and I went, there's no way. And I don't even know what list it was because I chuckled my way through it. Bobby Brink from Philly. Because he's 5'8", 169 pounds. And
why not?
And the list was just like, if anyone's gonna be interested, it's gonna be the Canes. And I went, of course, the exact opposite of McCarron. But in a more serious sense, like, are there any surprises that, like, if you put yourself in that mind space, you think the Canes might be entertaining or chasing? And like, it doesn't have to be like these kind of Cousins isn't this, but it doesn't have to be these like maybe unknown players. Like Mikko Rantanen, when they acquired him, was a no way. They did what? Mm-hmm. Like, you can surprise yourself by going bigger than anybody anticipated. You can also surprise yourself with maybe going different. Is there anything that sticks out to you? Maybe not even a team or a player name if it's just an archetype.
I think a name that would really surprise me, because I think the asking price is going to be really high, is Jesper Wallstedt, the goaltender from Minnesota. He's just 23 years old, but has a very, very bright future, but they have Philip Gustafsson already locked up, so they're Minnesota's thinking this could be a big trade bargaining chip for us to send off to get guys that can help us play right now. I'd be shocked if they got a guy like Jesper Wallstedt, but I also at the same time wouldn't hate it.
I considered both him and Bob as like wild surprises, but I actually saw them on a good amount of lists. Mm-hmm. It's like, all right, somebody is talking about them, just because goalies, they get talked about by everybody. Unless you have one of the handful of just dudes who you're set with, everybody gets talked about, and definitely for the Canes. We'll see. Again, nothing of concrete note coming out of the Canes facility as far as trade deadline stuff goes. The trade deadline is Friday at 3?
Yeah.
So we'll have more as the week goes on. I do expect it to be a flurry active deadline as we get closer to Friday. I wonder if maybe the Olympic break didn't kind of, like, everyone has too many options now. Like, everybody called everybody. So there's a lot to sort through. And once the deadline gets closer, you're going to have to start choosing. Like, all right, this is the best, or that is the best. They aren't bluffing. This team is bluffing. So I expect it to be a flurry, maybe starting Thursday morning is when I would throw it out there. We'll start hearing Thursday morning with some of the bigger dominoes, but that's just a guess on my part. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I do want to talk more about Duke basketball, and we still have to give away some Canes tickets today, so stick around for that. But before we get to any of it, Dennis Cox has something for you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick from my good friends over at Law Tigers. Something I'm very much looking forward to doing is getting back out on the motorcycle tomorrow. Weather, the temperatures, they're on the rise. I'm excited to get back out on the motorcycle. But one thing I want to make sure everyone is cautious about out there is When the weather warms up, you're going to see a lot more motorcycles out there on the road. And as a motorcycle rider, two things. One, assume that no one sees you. And second of all, make yourself as visible as possible. Make sure you're riding in the proper positions in your lane. You have your headlights on, all those things to make sure you are visible to every rider and driver that is out there on the road. And if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, you have to give Law Tigers a call first at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, even before you contact the insurance companies. Let's be honest, insurance companies, what's their job? To give you the least amount possible. Law Tigers on the other side, they're part of the motorcycle riding community. They're there to fight for you. They understand what your bike is worth. They understand what your gear is worth. But also they understand the risks of being out there on the road and what it's like to go through an accident. That's why your case evaluation with Law Tigers, it's always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Even if maybe you were in an accident back months ago and the insurance companies and all aren't doing everything that they can, or you feel like they're not doing everything that they possibly can, still give Law Tigers a call at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. They can still look into your case as well. So give them a call if you're injured in a motorcycle accident. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS, North Carolina's motorcycle lawyers. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, looks at Duke's side of their demolition of NC State. Coming up next.
Do you have a smartphone? Of course you do. Do you have a pocket or pouch or human hand to hold your smartphone? Then you have no excuse. Download the 99.9 The Fan brand new app today and take us with you wherever you go. Your favorite hosts, podcasts, and live sports action all in one place. Available for Apple iPhone and Android phones. Finally, there's an app for 99.9 The Fan. Download the 99.9 The Fan app today. Powered by Aspire Money Management.
Yo, Harvey, Zoe, group selfie.
Ooh, nice new iPhone 17, Drewski.
Let's do a triangle formation. I'm in front.
With a center stage front camera, everyone fits in the shot.
He got it at T-Mobile.
But switching takes forever.
Not anymore. Now you can switch to T-Mobile in just 15 minutes.
Focus, people. Nail your pose.
And you get a new iPhone 17 on them.
No way.
Yes way.
No way.
Yes way, guys. Switch to T-Mobile and get iPhone 17 on us. And right now, we'll pay off your old phone up to $800.
I'm grabbing my phone and switching to T-Mobile right now.
Get back, Harvey. We're taking a... let's go again, y'all.
With 24 monthly bill credits, finance agreement, 256 gigabytes, $830, eligible trade-in, example iPhone 13, and new qualifying line, $60 plus per month plan with auto pay plus taxes and fees. For well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 device connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us. $800 via virtual prepaid card. Card typically takes 15 days after rebate submission, no cash access, and card expires in 6 months. Check out in 15 minutes per line. Visit T-Mobile.com.
During Pirate Nation Gives, Pirates everywhere unite to support East Carolina University. Your generosity unlocks opportunities and builds impact for our students and our state. Give March 4th at give.ecu.edu. That's give.ecu.edu.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped, opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
Just text them, see if you qualify. $750? Boom! And right now, they're offering a $75 bonus when you set up an eligible direct deposit.
Think I should call her back?
Yeah.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Hurry and receive an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Text WORTH to 323232. That's WORTH to 323232. WORTH to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by FindCo Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Duke beat NC State by a bundle last night. 93-64 in the Lenovo Center. When Duke shoots the three well, they're the best team in the country. And for a long part of the season, that felt like a real, like, who knows kind of thing, right? They could beat darn near anybody if they weren't shooting the three well, because Cam Bruiser was like the tides and taxes, right? He was just gonna happen. He was consistent. It was just there, and their defense was so talented and so well put together that they could hold you below 60 points and just grind their way to 70, and then it's a double-digit win and you're good. Since their loss to UNC, they've been shooting the ball well enough that they're like awakening the haters, right? All of a sudden, for a long time, the analytics said they were one of the 2 best teams in the country, but the consensus was they were like 4th, right? And the haters were comfortable with that. And when I say haters, I just mean people around the country that think Duke gets every call and think Duke this and Duke that and John Shire this and John Shire. Like they would seem to be okay as long as they were in 4th. And Cam Boozer, right? He was the 3rd or 4th pick in the NBA draft. So everybody seemed okay with that. Right? As long as he's not DeBonsa, as long as he's not Darren Peterson, then we're okay. Well, over the last 6 games, you're seeing Duke creep up into that. No, actually, they're the best team in the country. And you're seeing Cameron Boozer. Well, no, actually, maybe he should be considered a bit higher. And now all of a sudden, everybody's mad at Duke again. And the irony is, I think it's mostly Isaiah Evans that's vaulting them up a level. I think it's mostly the random good shooting days from the Dame Sars or the Nick Jimenez or Caden Boozers or whoever else can throw in a couple of threes, some of the big guys. Those are the biggest differences. Because watching last night's game, don't get me wrong, Cam Boozer was great. 26, 9, and 4. And the most impressive part is 8 of 10 on field goal attempts. Shot 80% and went 26, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. That's unbelievable. But he really hasn't had a bad game, right? So is him having a good game news if he's never had a bad one? The defense was great. NC State shot 35% from the field, 24% from 3. They were one of the best shooting teams in the ACC statistically from 3. They shot 24%. And not all of that was just missed open jumpers, right? That was a defense that made it difficult for them. But that's kind of what Duke does, right? They had Virginia shooting terribly from 3. They've done that a few times this year. It's the 3-point shooting that elevates them. Isaiah Evans, since the UNC game, has really started shooting well. Again, right? It's not like he's never done it before. But in his last 7 games, he's taken that's starting with the game after UNC. He has taken 53 threes. He's made 25 of them. That's good for 47.2%. And some of them are difficult shots. Some of them he's pulling up well beyond the 3-point line. Some of them are not exactly in rhythm catch and shoots. So the fact that he's shooting 47.2% makes them the best team in the country. Over the last 7 games, they've been the best team in the country. If you add in Dame Sar with 3 of 6 last night, like I said, those random days where other guys are going to shoot well, it's really difficult to beat them. Really difficult to beat them. I don't know how many teams out there can beat them if they're shooting well from 3. Now, obviously, you catch them on a day where they're not shooting well, that opens up some other opportunities. But watching them the last 4 games has been it's like a steamroller, right? It doesn't even have to move quickly. You just know it's going to mow down anything in its path. Everybody keeps talking about State last night and how this zone and Darian Williams hitting some threes, kept him in it for the first 8 minutes. I went, did anybody out there think NC State was going to win 7 minutes into that game? Or did it feel like, at some point this is going to wear off for State and Duke's going to pull away? And then it happened. So let's look at that UNC game, right? I brought up how Isaiah Evans started shooting well after. John Shire was asked if UNC was a turning point for his squad.
I don't know if it's a turning point. I think it's just another, reference point and step in the season. I think any loss gives you the opportunity to look a little bit differently at games. And I certainly did that as a coach, what I can do better for these guys. I'm sure all these guys looked at each other in the mirror. And when you lose, I think you can splinter. I think it's very easy to do, and we've chosen the 2 losses that we've had to become more connected, to really attack the areas where we can grow and stick together. I think that's what it's all about.
I agree that losses can splinter a team. I think John Shire has to recognize his team has lost twice. If you're splintering on your second loss coming 2/3 of the way through the season, you were splintered already. I think it was a turning point in that first of all, Boozer, a little bit of I don't know, like lack of execution on those last 3 possessions, and you recognize, okay, if he's not, again, this is against UNC, if he's not going to be an absolute superhero, we're going to have to help him out. And the supporting cast has been much better since then. Much better. Which is crazy because they were already pretty good. Looking forward, they obviously have the big game against UNC, in which case, if you need motivation, you don't have a pulse, right? That game is about getting revenge. That game is about senior night. That game is about a rivalry, all those things. Then you have the ACC tournament, the NCAA tournament, and one thing that Duke can say beyond a shadow of a doubt is, like, you get one shot at this. Last year, they had every bit as talented a team as they have this year. Probably more so when it comes down just to pure basketball talent. They didn't win the whole thing, and they'll never get a chance to do it. All 5 starters gone. So if you look at this year's team, like the urgency should be through the roof. The urgency should be through the roof because Boozer's gone. Right, there's a good chance even Isaiah Evans and Gongba and other guys take their talents on the road. Like this team, the way it's built, constructed right now, will never be around again. Some of the advanced analytics think it might be one of the best ever. You don't get to go rest on that. You know what I mean? There was a point in time in college sports where your freshman year where you were super hyped and you won a bunch in the regular season, you'll go to the NCAA tournament and you were expected to learn your lessons the hard way. You were expected to go lose. Go listen to J.J. Redick, Duke fans. And I know he didn't end up getting the national championship in the end, but after I think it was his sophomore year, Redick tells this story all the time on podcasts back when he was in the media. I think it was after his sophomore year, Coach K called him into his office and said, "We're not national champions because you didn't deserve to be." That's a hard lesson after his sophomore year. That's going to be after Cam Boozer's rookie year in the NBA, time-wise, right? You don't have time to learn those stories, learn those lessons. This year's team's pretty good. They better be ready to prove it. Let's hear from John Shire one more time. They faced, obviously, a lot of zone from NC State. That was the big change-up at the beginning of the year, or beginning of the game. Here's Shire on being able to play through the different looks.
Well, I think it helps a lot, and let's be honest, a lot of it's Cam. It just is. We've seen a lot of different game plans with him, and the IQ of this group to understand and figure out different ways to attack doubles, to attack zone. We've seen switching. We've seen a lot, and I think that we have an advantage to attack any of them. As long as we continue to trust the pass, play together. When that ball is moving, man, I think that's been a big difference the last part of the year. 21 assists tonight. I think 13 of our first 16 shots were assisted. And that's been a big strength. We have a really good passing team. And then understand how to exploit mismatches or how to exploit whatever coverage the team is in.
It'll help them in the long run. Maybe not a ton. I don't know if anybody will really think in the big tournaments that it's time to try to beat them with zone, but just in case, they've seen it in bulk on the road and won by darn near 30.
And if you got Dame Sarr hitting threes from the outside, that's only going to open things up even further. I think he's the key piece for them going forward. Obviously, outside of Cam Boozer, you know he's going to be, but he's your best perimeter defender, Dame Sarr is. He can guard 1 through 3 easily, no problem. But if he's shooting from the outside consistently as well, watch out.
He's more athletic than I think people give him credit for, too. He can dunk. He can do all that kind of stuff. If you look at, the best 3-person combos on the floor for defense in the country, he's on the 1, 2, and 3. It's 3 different Duke, like top 1, top 2, top 3 are 3 different Duke combos, and he's on all of them. He's a very, very good defender. And that was his calling card even when the offense was really far behind early on. It's catching up now, but he's always been able to play defense. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we move on, Dennis has something he'd like to tell you.
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for Loan Pronto. Folks, those high-interest credit cards and all those other loans, are they just sucking the life out of your finances? Well, it's time to say no more. Let Loan Pronto tap the equity in your home and get the cash you need so you can pay it all off. One couple, Corey and Jack, they called Loan Pronto, and in a matter of days, they had $160,000. They kept their 3% mortgage intact and didn't even need an appraisal. With all that cash, they wiped out all their credit cards and 2 car loans, saving $2,000 a month. You can do it too. LoanPronto.com. Their rapid equity loan program can get you $100,000, $200,000, even $500,000 in cash. One couple, another couple, Chloe and Ethan, they just did that. They consolidated all their high-interest debt into one super low monthly payment, giving them an extra $1,000 a month. Just imagine this. You pay off all your credit cards, you slash your monthly payments, you breathe a little bit easier, you get your life back. Interest rates are at a 3-year low. Call Loan Pronto, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Visit NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Dennis, should we give away some tickets right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Join 99.9 The Fan at Buffalo Brothers.
Let's do that hockey.
Let's do it. At Buffalo Brothers in Cary on Thursday. That's this Thursday from 6 to 8 to hang out with Victoria from the Adam Gold Show. And while Victoria is there from 6 to 8, you'll have a chance every 8 minutes to win a pair of tickets to see the Canes and St. Louis on Thursday, March 12th at the Lenovo Center. Again, Victoria will be giving away 1 pair of tickets to the game every 8 minutes while she is there from 6 to 8 on Thursday. That's the Buffalo Brothers in Cary. Join us Thursday night. For you listening right now, I have good news. You can call 919-860-5326 right now. And caller number 9, lucky caller 9, will score a pair of tickets to see that very same game. The Canes take on St. Louis March 12th at the Lenovo Center. And we're just getting started. We'll do this again tomorrow and again the next day here on the show, giving away a pair of tickets each day here on the show to the St. Louis game as they come to play the hometown Canes, March 12th at the Lenovo Center. Call in now. Caller number 9 gets the tickets, 919-860-5326. And don't forget to hang out at the Cary Buffalo Brothers Thursday from 6 to 8 with Victoria. You can win tickets there too. So call in now. Someone will win the tickets. And when we come back, starting 5.
Move your sports day forward.
Sudden death hockey for gold medals are a great thing. Now, after 46 years of waiting, the NHL needs to get outside its echo chamber and capitalize on the Winter Olympics momentum. Baseball first pitch, hockey player. Honorary NASCAR starter, hockey player. Kiss babies, shake hands before the clock starts on another 46 years of no miracles.
Get set up. Join Next Up with Paul Ihander. Mornings at 9 on 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
When sleep isn't working, everything feels harder. Your health, your patience, your focus, even your relationships. I'm Megan Giggling with Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Too often, people are told to wait months or even years just to talk to a sleep specialist. But untreated sleep problems don't wait. At Parkway, care begins within weeks with home sleep studies and fast, coordinated support so people can move forward instead of staying stuck. Better sleep changes everything.
Parkway Sleep, your fastest path to better sleep. Start today at parkwaysleep.com. Sound sleep, sound health.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here for my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's the best time of the year for college basketball, and Buffalo Brothers is a slam dunk. Best place in the Triangle to watch all the big games. They always have great drink specials, and check this out. Every Monday, half-price wings all day. That's half-price wings all day Monday. Dine in only. Now that's a deal, baby. Check out any of their 5 Triangle locations or online at buffbrothers.com. Aw, man! Now I want wings!
Jackson Hewitt knows taxes are complicated, and with multiple jobs and tax forms, they're like Sonata complicated. Our no surprise pricing keeps things simple. Jackson Hewitt does your taxes for only $149 or less. And since we know all the new tax codes, you could get thousands back. So what are you waiting for? Hurry! File with Jackson Hewitt today for only $149 or less, guaranteed. Limited time offer for new clients on federal returns. Participating locations only. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com/149.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Granger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm WRAL meteorologist Mike Mays. It's a ridge of high pressure that's building in the coming days. We warmed up somewhat today, but we really take off tomorrow and for the rest of the week. The low tonight, 48. Tomorrow's high, 76, up to 80 on Thursday.
5 o'clock check of your money. Dow Jones today down 403 points to 48,501. This hour of the drive is brought to you by Law Tigers. Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call 1-800-LAW-TIGERS before you call your insurance company. Case evaluations are always free, and you don't pay a dime until your case settles. Law Tigers, North Carolina's motor.
It's 5 o'clock. Time to serve up the biggest sports stories of the day. Here comes your starting five.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is 5 o'clock, and that means it is time for the starting five. So let's go ahead and jump into number 5.
Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let's do that hockey.
NHL trade deadline is on Friday at 3 p.m. I'm going to pass along some info here. Not necessarily to be a wet blanket or to be a party pooper.
Big old buzzkill.
Yeah, I'm not trying to do that.
All right.
But I know that there's quite a bit of hope amongst Canes fans that Robert Thomas out of St. Louis could be the big free agent / not free agent trade acquisition by trade deadline time for the Canes. I just have two things that could potentially help you get an idea for what that would cost. Jordan Schmaltz, who does some media stuff, also played a little bit in the NHL, does some media stuff up in Columbus, or in Buffalo, excuse me, had this to say about Buffalo's position in the Robert Thomas trade discussions. The alleged proposed package from Buffalo would include Power, Helenius, and the sweetener of Jack Quinn.
Yeah, Owen Power, the defenseman. Jack Quinn, who is a forward who's 24 years old. And also Helenius, who is a rookie. Konsta Helenius was the 14th overall pick in 2024. He's a Finnish forward.
That's a lot.
Who's on his entry-level contract right now.
And just another way to say this is on an ESPN article, they put out some trades they would like to see. They think it makes sense. And in one of them, the Carolina Hurricanes get center Robert Thomas from St. Louis. Are you ready for what they believe the trade will include? Dennis, there are two pieces that could make you laugh and then two that can make you go, whoa.
Okay.
The 2026 first-round pick from Dallas.
That's fine.
Yes, Barry Kokaniemi.
Okay.
Alexander Nikishin.
All right.
And Ryan Suzuki.
That's less than what reportedly Buffalo might be sending out.
Correct. This is, and I believe this was before the reports of what the proposed package is. My point is, I don't think you get Robert Thomas without Nikishin. I don't think the fans would be excited to send Nikishin in that trade. That is the nature of the market in the NHL. 26-year-old centers, you develop them yourself, you draft them and develop them yourself, or you pay through the nose to get them. Those are your options, right? And you may have even offered something like what I just described in the ESPN article, and they may come back to you and say, Buffalo beat it. What else can you do? So now not only are you looking at a first, Kokaniemi, Nikishin, and Ryan Suzuki, but you're thinking of what else can I add to that to make this team say yes. Now you're getting to the point where it's like, goodness gracious. How much do we need at 2C?
So, yeah, if Jack, let's say the reportedly from Buffalo, Jack Quinn, who's a 24-year-old forward, right-handed, again, 24 years old, still has another year left on his deal before he hits restricted free agency. Owen Power, a 23-year-old defenseman who's 6'6", 225, bigger than Nikishin. He was the number one overall pick back in 2021. He's younger and he's bigger, and he's also locked up. He's on the second year of a 7-year contract at $8.35 million.
I don't even know. And by the way, like that same Jordan Schmaltz to double back and say, like, okay, now maybe Power's out. So everything's obviously fluid.
But yeah, you never know. Like, go get Bowen Byram or someone else. There's a lot.
To reach that number, like if you had to one-up that, are we talking like Nikishin, Blake, a first? Like how?
I mean, yeah, you're talking a lot.
Yeah, to one up that, and that's what it might end up taking.
And also one of your top, one of your absolute top prospects.
And then,
so, I mean, that's Bradley Nadeau, then some.
All of that I say to bring it back and go like, I don't know, maybe Trocheck doesn't look that bad. You know what I mean? You start talking about some of these numbers, and it's like, you know what? Yeah, I wanted someone in their 20s, but 34 is the new 26. How about Ryan O'Reilly? Like, it doesn't take long before you start talking yourself into some other guys once you see the price tags. It's the same thing, and I know I always feel weird making this comparison, but the same thing because, like, most of us, the only time we make big purchases are, like, houses and cars and things, right? Like, you ever gone looking for a new car? You walk out on the lot, oh, this is nice. All right, here, let's look at it. And then you got to go look. They got like the information piece of paper taped to the inside of the back window. And you look at it and you're you see the price? And what do? We're in the wrong part of the parking lot. There's some nice ones over there. Let's walk to over there. This is not it. These prices are too high. I think that happens in trade market as well. Bring. Hey, Robert Thomas, what are you hearing? What are you thinking? What's your number going to be? Well, we got this offer from Buffalo. Whoa, wrong part of the lot. Let's back it up. Let's go across the way. Where are the minivans? Let's get it used. It's going to be a lot for a player like Robert Thomas, is my point. And that goes for Robert Thomas and players like Robert Thomas. Just to put it in perspective again, before the season, ESPN did a top 100 NHL player list, and Robert Thomas, I would say, has lived exactly a Robert Thomas life this year. Like, not vaulted up, not vaulted down a ton, dealt with some injuries. He was 69th in the league. So there's tiers above him. He's very good, but there are tiers above him as well. So keep that in mind. That's number 5. Let's get to number 4.
1, 2, 3, 4 all together.
You have got to be kidding me.
Oh, do you know what my grandmother used to do when she was very mad at a business?
Ask for the manager?
She would send them a strongly worded letter. She had cursive handwriting, and she'd let them have it. Apparently, Louisville came from the same era as my grandmother. Louisville is trying to save college sports with a letter of reform. I'll read a couple passages here quickly. Without an enforceable cap, and they're talking NIL payments and revenue share payments, without an enforceable cap, the current trajectory is clear. A small number of programs will spend whatever it takes to dominate. The middle class will hollow out, and hundreds of programs will be forced to cut sports, reduce scholarships, and abandon the student athletes who depend on them. Another segment. We have watched a system that was already straining under its own contradictions get hit simultaneously by litigation, the NIL era, and the House v. NCAA settlement's new direct compensation obligations. The math no longer works, and the time for incremental tinkering has passed. I want to give Louisville a skosh of credit. just a skosh. Because they're trying, right? It's better than nothing. It's raising awareness. But do you know what I think they're completely missing the point on? This article had 3 people's names on it as authors. President of the university, Dr. Jerry Bradley. Vice President and Director of Athletics, Josh Heard. And Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Lawrence N. Benz. You know who is not included in any of that? The players.
Yeah.
Let the players have a seat at the table or there is no point. None of these court cases are like an athletic director suing a president and saying the players should play. It's all players suing. And players overwhelmingly are winning because all the rules are set without their input. So of course they're not fair to them. It's just administrators doing what's best for administration without thinking of the people that need to be protected, and the courts keep telling you to protect them and let them have their fair share. Unless players are involved, ain't nothing going to hold up in court. And I don't think that's legal grammar that I just used, but you get the point. You can find the entire letter online. I encourage you to go read it. There's some common sense stuff in there. That's number 4. How about number 3?
It was some point in the second half, one of their big men, and, just the Wolfpack got me, Yeah, they got long claws, so. I think it just goes to show our fight, the toughness we brought to this game. Proud of our guys, like Coach said, when they see outright, so it's big time for our team for sure.
That was Cameron Boozer post-game after Duke beat NC State by a bunch. He had a pretty gnarly-looking gash on, or like a Wolverine scar kind of deal. Like there were multiple nails that had ripped across his bicep.
Yeah, just like imagine like the thickness of a finger, just like squeezing your arm and just leaving bruise.
Yeah, it was pretty serious, and he was likely because he had 26, 9, and 4 on 8 of 10 shooting. He was more than happy to joke about it after the game.
Yeah, I posted a picture of it on my social media. I was there in the press room, and I zoomed in and took a picture of it. So at the Fan Rookie, you could see it.
It's a gnarly looking wound. But I think the more interesting part, Duke kind of did what Duke has been doing the last 5 or 6 games, which is just lining them up, knocking them down. NC State also did what they have been doing, which is not playing great basketball and kind of getting bullied, which is not what Will Wade promised, and potentially a lesson in overpromising. Because if you still look from last year to this year, State has made tremendous improvements year over year. But when Will Wade was hired, he didn't promise we'll be a bunch better than last year. He promised they'd be in the top 4 in the league. He promised they would, battle against their bully neighbors in the triangle. And he promised top of the ACC, top group of the ACC. That's not exactly what they're delivering. Will Wade talked about the long way that NC State needs to go to get on Duke's level.
They're big games, but like I said, look, we got a long way to go to catch Duke right now. There's as good a team as I've played against. I'm not just talking about their talent. The way they operate, they're ruthlessly efficient on both ends. Coach Shire does just an incredible job. You watch the way they run to the scorer's table when they sub in. Like everything is tight. Like it's an impressive operation from top to bottom. And we got some work to do. We kind of know where the standard is now, and we've got work to do, and our eyes are wide open to try to start the chase and try to catch up. But they're a tremendous team, great players, great coaches, just incredible. The whole operation, to see it up close, watch it on film. It's very impressive. See it up close. It's almost unparalleled from what I've seen. In coaching.
Well, at least now you know what the bully neighbors you talked about are bringing to the table. And I don't see Duke going anywhere. UNC has a pretty good recruiting class coming in. Matter of fact, I had this here. I wasn't sure if we were going to work it into the show, but ESPN's college basketball recruiting rankings for next year were updated within the last 24, 48 hours. Duke has the number 1 class, UNC number 7, Wake Forest number 10. So buckle up if you think it's going to get easier in the ACC or in the state of North Carolina. If Wake is pulling a top 10 recruiting class, it's only going to get more difficult from here. And obviously it's early and all that can change and everything, but goodness. And the transfer portal is a different beast, but goodness. What NC State put on the floor in the last 6 games, I don't think will ever be enough to win in the ACC. At times they'd look better than that, but the last 5-6 games have been rough. And I know they got the win over UNC right in the middle of that, but the worse you play after for a consistent time period, it starts to lend more credence to maybe Caleb Wilson and Henry Vasar being out impacted that game a lot more than it appeared in the moment, because you have not leveled up at all since then.
No, you've only gotten worse.
Let's hear more from Will Wade, because he's always a treat to hear from. Here's Will Wade on losing 5 of their last 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're in 1-game seasons from here on out. I mean, Stanford game's huge for us. Game like tonight, obviously you don't want to lose by 30, but look, tonight's a tough task. The problems, having a 7-point lead at Miami, or with Miami, having a 7-point lead, 2.5 minutes at Notre Dame. Like, those are the problems. Like, these guys are in a little different weight class than we are right now. We know where we got to get to. We could see that live and in person today. This is where we have to strive to kind of get up to that weight class. But, the issue in the 5 out of 6 is the games that were within our control. Not necessarily tonight, but we got to put everything we got into Stanford on Saturday. It's the biggest game of the season. And we've got to recalibrate and get ready to go.
I was struggling to find the word. Dennis, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm overreacting. Did Will Wade give off too much surrender energy to Duke?
I don't know if it's surrender. I think it's just
that game they're good. I'm mad about another game we lost. This one, wow. They're good.
I don't know. What is he supposed to say?
The same thing every coach says after that game. We didn't play well.
Us?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's basically kind of what he's saying.
We missed shots. We shouldn't have come out in zone when it's not what we do and not what we practice. That even in itself, the decision to do that is kind of weird. We couldn't guard them straight up without fouling. So I had to try to pull a trick one. There's a little bit of surrender energy there. Just they're so good that we didn't have any options. We probably could have beat Miami, but Duke, oh no. I don't know. I don't know. Not the brash Will Wade we had gotten used to.
I don't know. Maybe not the. Now, I guess we felt like we had to get bullied by the bully down the block.
Yeah, exactly.
That he talked about. He's like, oh man, he actually is strong and tough.
You know what? I'll go deal with this bully. You go walking down the street, you come back with just a black eye. And,
yeah, you're like,
we're gonna have to regroup, come up with a new plan. That hurt. Does it look purple? Am my eye swollen? That's number 3. Let's get to number 2.
Just the two of us. Nikolai Ehlers with a tight turn. He'll leave it for Walker. Martinook's going to get to it behind the net. He'll turn, but pestered just enough. Loose puck finds Ehlers. He scores! You needed the leaders to come up big, and they did here. Nikolai Ehlers, his 16th, and the Canes are on the board.
That felt like it was going to be a really important game or a really important goal when it happened for Nikolai Ehlers last night. Cut the lead for Seattle on the road in the late night Canes action to 2-1. That's also what it ended with. 2-1 final score. For more details on how the Canes were unable to complete the comeback on the road at Seattle, here's our very own Adam Gold from here on 99.9 with 2 minutes of gold.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and I've got 2 minutes for 2 goals and 2 points that stayed in Seattle as the Hurricanes fell to the Kraken 2-1, and it's all brought to us by Parkway Sleep Health Centers, parkwaysleep.com. So all good things must come to an end, and Mama said there'd be days like this. There'd be days like this, my mama said. I think you understand the song. And it didn't go well for Carolina last night, but it did look good at the beginning for Freddie Anderson and company.
Penalty about to expire. Shot right on. Anderson makes the save. Rebound. Eberle is denied. And the Canes are able to knock it free. And Svechnikov trying to get a break. Svechnikov drags around Dunn. And now he'll be shielded off the puck there. One shot on goal for the Kraken. It came late on that power play chance. Canes penalty killers do the job.
Great save on Jordan Eberle. I actually think the rebound save was even better than the initial one. And it was an opportunity for Freddie to make consecutive starts for Carolina for the first time since Thanksgiving. No kidding. That's the last time Anderson started consecutive Hurricanes games. And this one, through one period, very good. Then in the second, it got away from Freddie a little bit.
Now Carolina, Carrier will come up with this as Nikishin with good pressure, but it'll deflect out for Kakko. Possible 2-on-1 for Seattle. Kakko drags, shoots, and scores. It gets through Frederik Anderson, and Seattle on the board first. It's 1-0 Kraken.
The initial mistake was Alexander Nikishin trying to pass the puck across rather than either shoot it or get it deep. And once Carolina gave away possession of the puck there, it became a 2-on-1 because there wasn't great coverage. And Frederik Anderson, I believe, was caught playing the pass as opposed to the shot, which is why he opened up a little bit and why there was room between the body and the blocker's side arm. And ultimately, that's the goal. So, bad play by Nikishin, not a great goal to allow from Freddie. Second goal was arguably worse on both parts because it really isn't a shot. It just sort of slides underneath Anderson on a second effort. That's bad, but Alexander Nikishin needs to play that one a lot better. Growing pains, young player, not worried about him, but he was culpable on both goals, and Anderson probably should have had both. And that, for Hurricanes fans, probably hurt them yesterday, even though, look, Carolina was good, but not good enough, and I don't know that they were ever going to score more than the one goal that they did. It's hard to win a game when you score one goal. We'll see if it goes better in Vancouver tomorrow. I trust that it will. Parkway Sleep Health Center. Sound sleep, sound health, sound off for maybe more sound sleep.
Not just Vancouver tomorrow. They return home a week from today. Next Tuesday will be their home game against Pittsburgh. In between there, they will play at Vancouver on Wednesday, at Edmonton on Friday, and at Calgary on Saturday. Still plenty of time to quote-unquote save the road trip with some wins and some points and everything. It's just one game. They had a 12-game point streak before that. Gosh, what's the loss doing on this schedule? Didn't even force overtime. But thank you to Adam Gold for 2 minutes of gold. And hopefully you caught my sarcasm on that desperation right there. That is number 2. Let's get to number 1.
Go one!
Looking for Trimble. Instead has to go high post to Vesar. Back to the basket. Vesar's just going to turn and shoot it. Yes! Vesar for 3.
I love that call for Henry Vesar. UNC taking on Clemson tonight at home. It is their senior night. It is their, obviously, last home game of the regular season. It is hopefully one of their last games before Caleb Wilson is able to return and be healthy. But I do like what it's doing for Vesar, right? Is there a better – that call we just listened to, is there a better kind of snapshot of what it looks like to be the number 1 option on your team? Henry Vesar with it. Oh, he's just going to turn and shoot. And it's good. Right? He's a 7-footer, so unless you have a particular style of defender on him, he's going to be able to shoot over you. And just the nature of growing into a higher volume player is something that could tremendously benefit them even when Caleb Wilson comes back. I don't know if people realize this, but Vesar, due to injury and also just playing with a really talented team at Arizona, he never really was like a main character at Arizona. He would show flashes of the ability that he has, but he never really became the main focal point. And then obviously at UNC, he's had Caleb Wilson being the main focal point, and he's kind of being the 1B to Caleb Wilson's 1A. He's kind of growing into a 1A while Caleb Wilson is out, right? 26 points in their most recent game against Virginia Tech. We'll see what he can do against Clemson tonight, but that's definitely a storyline to watch for UNC. And we do have plenty of time to talk about this game. We're going to talk about it for the last segment of the show at 5:45. UNC Clemson tonight and everything that goes into it. So make sure if you're a Carolina fan, or I guess a Clemson fan, or just a college basketball fan, make sure you're here at 5:45. If you're a fan of winning tickets to see Hank Williams Jr., make sure you're listening right now, and make sure you're calling in at 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 for your chance to compete in the numbers game, where the prize for today is a pair of tickets to see Hank Williams Jr. at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on Saturday, June 20th. If you want to win the tickets, you got to win the numbers game, which means you got to call in now. 919-860-5326. That's 919-860-5326 to play the numbers game and maybe win the tickets. Numbers game next.
Hey, it's Adam Golden. As the Carolina Hurricanes shoot for their 8th consecutive playoff appearance. That's right, 8 in a row. That's not the goal, I should remind you. The goal is being, as Rod Brindamore likes to say, the last team standing. What do they need? Who will get them there? You know where you can find the answers on every episode of the Canes Corner podcast, live on YouTube after games, and wherever you get your podcast. Rate, subscribe, like, share, tell your friends.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $200 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 in 3.49 to 4.37. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply or price stopped, opt out.
Hey man, how did the date go?
I had to cancel. I don't get paid until Friday.
You didn't know that you can get up to a $750 paycheck advance with the current app?
Where was that information yesterday?
Just text them, see if you qualify. $750? Boom! And right now, they're offering a $75 bonus when you set up an eligible direct deposit.
Think I should call her back?
Yeah.
Need money before payday? Current has you covered. Set up an eligible direct deposit to see if you qualify for a paycheck advance of up to $750. Hurry and receive an extra $75 sign-up bonus right now. Text WORTH to 323232. That's WORTH to 323232. WORTH to 323232.
Paycheck advance is offered by FindCo Advance LLC, a financial technology company, not an FDIC-insured bank. Eligibility and available amounts may vary and are subject to change at any time. For full terms and conditions, visit current.com/radio or call 1-888-851-3177 for more information.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. Joseph Cordell, licensed in Missouri and Illinois. CordellCordell.com.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. It is time to play the numbers game. The prize for today, a pair of tickets to see Hank Williams Jr. at Coastal Credit Union Music Park on Saturday, June 20th. The contestants for today, Mike in Durham, Ben in Raleigh. As always, we'll bring each of them onto the show. We will ask them the same question. Dennis will pick his favorite answer, and that person will get to go first. We'll start with Mike. Mike, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, we're going to go a little question inception here for the question of the day. If you were me and you had to ask one question of the contestants to see who gets to go first, what question would you ask?
Man.
Yeah, not that easy, huh?
Not that easy.
Could be anything.
What's your plans for this coming up weekend?
What was it? Oh, what was your favorite part of the weekend?
What's your plans for this coming up weekend, I guess?
All right, plans for the weekend, going to a tried and true. Dennis, any follow-ups?
No.
All right, we are good to roll to Ben in Raleigh. Ben, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, if you were me, this is the question that to see who goes first. If you were me and you had to come up with a question to ask the contestants, and then Dennis would pick the favorite answer, so you just got to come up with like an icebreaker question, what would you choose? What question would you ask?
What was the best meal you had in the past 7 days?
Best meal in the last 7 days. All right. Dennis, the options are, what are your plans for the weekend, which is a tried and true one here.
Yeah.
On the, what do you look forward to most about the weekend, but keep it sports related? Or best meal in the last 7 days.
Best meal in the last 7 days. That's a pretty unique one. That actually makes me think. Like, what if I had eaten in the last 7 days? That's a good one.
Adding the time frame is a change up.
Best meal. That's a great one. That is. You know what? We should use that one.
We could do it tomorrow.
Not today. Yeah, tomorrow though. But no, I'm gonna go with Ben on this one.
Right. So Ben in Raleigh gets to.
It's a fantastic question. Now I'm sitting here thinking.
Do you have an answer?
No, I got to think about it.
We'll come back to you.
Yes.
Ben and Raleigh gets to go first. Mike and Durham, don't worry. You will have your chance. Just have to sit on hold for a second. Ben, are you ready to pick a category?
Yes, sir.
All right. The categories are NFL, Panthers throughout history, NFL players with K as the first letter in their first name, NBA players that are currently in the NBA and have early March birthdays, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
The NBA one.
All right. These are all NBA players currently in the league that have early March birthdays. I will give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. There'll be 30 seconds on the clock. There'll be one pass if you need it. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Nope.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. Draymond Green, Golden State Warriors.
23.
Correct. Josh Hart, New York Knicks.
13.
Incorrect. Igor Demon, Brooklyn Nets.
Pass.
Dylan Harper, San Antonio Spurs.
16.
Incorrect. Josh Hart, New York Knicks.
10.
Incorrect. Igor Demon, Brooklyn Nets. Well, you got Draymond. You avoided the shutout. So one is the lead. Go ahead and stay on the line. We'll see if it holds up. For those of you playing at home, Josh Hart with the Knicks, number 3. Demon with the Nets, number 8. Was Dylan Harper the second overall pick?
I think he was.
Because he wears number 2 for the Spurs, and that would be like the motivational thing that
makes sense.
I'm going to always remember that they didn't pick me first. That darn Cooper flag. Either way, again, Ben got 1. That is the lead in the clubhouse. That'll bring us to Mike. Mike, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
All right, Mike and Durham. The categories remaining for you to choose from are NFL players, Panthers throughout history, NFL players whose first name starts with the letter K, or NHL Hurricanes throughout history.
I'm going Panthers throughout history.
All right, Panthers throughout history. I'll give you the team and the player. Give me the jersey number as quickly as you can. 30 seconds on the clock. One pass if you need it. I will say the team in this category, even though we know it, just to keep it fair timing-wise with the other categories. And you need at least 2 for the win. Do you have any questions before we get started?
No, I don't.
All right. Your time will start when you hear the horn. D'Angelo Williams, Carolina Panthers.
34.
Correct. A'Shawn Robinson, Carolina Panthers.
Pass.
Ryan Khalil, Carolina Panthers.
11. No.
Incorrect. Zane Gonzalez, Carolina Panthers.
3.
Incorrect. A'Shawn Robinson, Carolina Panthers.
All right. 44.
Incorrect. Ryan Khalil, Carolina Panthers.
13.
What was that? Unfortunately, you only got 1. You got D'Angelo Williams, 34. But 1 means it's a tie, and tie goes to whoever goes first. So you are not the winner, but hopefully you had some fun.
All right. Appreciate it, bud.
Appreciate you. And that means Ben in Raleigh is the winner. Ben, congrats.
Yeah.
Pair of tickets to see Hank Williams Jr. is all yours. So congrats on that one. All you needed was the 1, and that's what you got. So congrats. Stay on the line, and Dennis will grab the info he needs to make sure you get your prize.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. I wouldn't say that was the prettiest numbers game we've been through. A couple of singles, but to the winner goes the spoils. The win is the win is the win. You can't take it away. I do think it's funny when Orion Khalil, who I just with when I grew up and when I was watching sports and the really good Panthers teams, he's just so entrenched as a inner circle Panther. And when someone's just you can tell they're not there. It's kind of crazy, but not everybody has the same experiences. And you got to remember that. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. I do want to remind everybody, we didn't have anybody pick the Canes category there, but if you would have picked the Canes category, you want to make sure, because you're a big Canes fan, that you join 99.9 The Fan at the Buffalo Brothers in Cary this Thursday, so 2 days from now, from 6 to 8 p.m., where you can hang out with Victoria, that's Victoria from the Adam Gold Show, and have a chance, many chances actually, to win a pair of tickets to the Canes versus St. Louis game on Thursday, March 12th. Victoria will be giving away one pair of tickets every 8 minutes while she is there, from 6 to 8, 2 hours every 8 minutes. I've been on these ticket stops. We literally set an alarm, and it just goes off every 8 minutes, and every 8 minutes we're giving away a pair of tickets. So that's what Victoria is going to be doing. It's at the Buffalo Brothers in Cary this Thursday night from 6 to 8 p.m., and if you can't make it out there, first of all, move around your schedule, right? Find a way. But if you really can't make it out there, we do have 2 more pair of tickets to give away here on the show over the next 2 days. So we'll give away a pair of tickets tomorrow. We already gave one away today and yesterday. We'll give one away tomorrow. We'll give another away the next day. And then the ticket stop will be Thursday night, 6 to 8 p.m., Buffalo Brothers in Cary. Just to run through some of the stuff that's been happening in the NFL, I don't think any of this is crazy news or news that affects the Panthers in a big way, but maybe some dominoes that will fall or won't fall involving these players can indirectly relate cap space and things that can impact the Panthers. So I will give you just a little bit of the news. Trey Hendrickson has officially gotten the goodbye from the Bengals. They did not use the franchise tag, so he will hit the open market. Kyler Murray will hit the open market. He will be released next week, that according to ESPN sources, but that means he will be a free agent, ready to go wherever he wants, as he pleases, wherever he wants to sign. And actually, this could impact everything. I believe the Panthers the Cardinals are on the hook for about $37 million to Kyler Murray, but that does have offset language. So if he goes and makes $40 million next year from somewhere else, the Cardinals would actually pay him nothing, right? Because anything that he gets paid by someone else comes out of what the Cardinals owe him. So if he wanted to, he could go somewhere and sign a 1-year, $1.3 million deal and still get, whatever that is, 35 and change million from the Cardinals and have that count against their cap and everything else. So if you're a team that's really stuck at quarterback, if you're Miami and you're moving on from Tua and Tua is going to give you a reckless cap hit, well, guess what? You could sign Kyler Murray, only pay him 1.3, and have Arizona give him $30-something million. Same is true for a few others that are in kind of cap situations, which could make it interesting. Daniel Jones was given the transition tag by the Colts, so if he signs somewhere else, the Colts can match it, which means they will not be tagging Alec Pierce. I know a lot of Panther fans are interested in the deep threat of the Indianapolis Colts, Alec Pierce. He cannot be franchise tagged, but he can still obviously just sign a traditional contract extension with the Colts if he wanted to, and if they can work it out. There's one more. Oh, and Drew Dahlman, who is a kind of a stud center for the Bears. Last offseason signed a 3-year, $40-something million deal. He has let the team know that he will be retiring at 27 years old. So the Bears, who were one of the real turnarounds last year, really got that run game going. They're going to have some work to do up front because a guy who they planned on having for the foreseeable future, still very young, still very impactful, retiring from the NFL. So just add another team out there looking for something to buy.
You said 27, right?
27.
Wow.
Just signed last offseason, 3 years, $42 million. You must be convicted in your decision to walk away.
For real?
To walk away from years 2 and 3 of a 3-year, $42 million deal.
Hey, you know what? If you take care of your money and all that stuff, you never know. That's the thing.
No, I'm not knocking him for it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I assume that wasn't a decision made lightly.
No, not at all.
That was one that took, a couple inner circle meetings with the family on, are we sure this is what we want to do? But still, it does kind of shake up the Bears, and the Bears were one of the big improvers last year. So there's a little rundown of some of the news in the NFL. There'll be more up until and through free agency, which starts up in about 6 days with the legal tampering period.
Real quick here.
Whoa. What is it? Don't leave me hanging.
Your ACC Women's Basketball Coach of the Year, Kara Lawson, Duke Women's Basketball.
Hey, congrats, Coach.
I know people are thinking like, okay, Kate's trade? I swerved everyone there. But no, Kara Lawson, for real, ACC Coach of the Year.
Congratulations
to her.
Kara Lawson. She's having a good year because she's getting involved in USA basketball.
Yeah.
She's obviously, Duke is the 1 seed in the ACC tournament.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing some things there. Good for Coach Lawson. And yeah, you got the heart rate going a little bit there with the breaking news with the NHL trade deadline on Friday and everybody expecting the Canes to be players. And not saying that it's not good news or breaking news that Kara Lawson is the Coach of the Year. But you could have hit it's not Kane news, and then hit the breaking news. That might have helped a little bit.
I want to keep people on their toes. You never know. Something other breaking news happens. I might just hit it. Then people like, oh, well, what is it now?
Now I'm going to go, who won an award? And it's going to be like, the Canes have traded everybody for Connor McDavid. But no, that won't happen. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Before we get back out of fantasy world and to talking about UNC versus Clemson, Dennis, you have something you'd like to say?
I do. Dennis Cox here real quick for my friends over at Raleigh Weight Loss Center. It's not a fantasy. People might think of it as a fantasy that losing weight is something that you can't accomplish. Like, that's fantasy world. Losing all the weight, getting my body down to where I want it to be. That's a fantasy. Through Raleigh Weight Loss Center, you can make that a reality, folks. And as someone who was part of the Raleigh Weight Loss Center program, I lost over 40 pounds thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. And guess what? Not one time did I have to do a shot or an injection, take a pill, a surgery, a steroid, none of those kinds of things. None of the side effects, none of the sickness, none of those things that come along with some of those other weight loss journeys. Just resetting and restarting your metabolism. That way your body can do the natural thing, which is burn off weight. I lost over 40 pounds. It's a reality. I'm living, breathing, walking proof that you can lose anywhere from 10 to 20% of your body weight. I lost 15% of my body weight thanks to Raleigh Weight Loss Center. I go play hockey. I feel much lighter on the ice. My hips, my knees, my ankles aren't just bearing the brunt of all that extra weight that I was carrying around. Ride my motorcycle. I can ride comfortably for a long distance now. All because of the weight that I lost with Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Just so many things of the daily aspects of my life that I didn't realize were a struggle are so much easier. And you can make that a reality. It's no longer, doesn't have to be a fantasy for you anymore. Pick up the phone, call 919-897-7506, or there on your phone, visit RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up a free 15-minute phone consultation. Again, it's free. You got questions, you got concerns, you got health issues, whatever it is, bring it all to the table. That way they can answer those questions for you, and you can move forward on the weight loss journey with confidence. 919-897-7506. RaleighWeightLossCenter.com. Set up that free 15-minute phone consultation. By the way, first 50 callers, save $100. So don't wait. Raleigh Weight Loss Center. Results may vary.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan, looks towards tonight's UNC Clemson game next.
Listen for the Did He Just Do That?
Baystar to the cup for the tomahawk. Timeout, Syracuse.
Listen for the Get That Out of Here's.
McKinney into the paint, blocked by Brown from behind. Get that out of there.
Did he just do that?
Now Caleb Foster ahead to Evans and a dunk to say goodnight.
The road to Indianapolis runs through 99.9. The Fan, driven by Strategic Tax Resolution, Fairway Green, and Wake Med.
During Pirate Nation Gives, Pirates everywhere unite to support East Carolina University. Your generosity unlocks opportunities and builds impact for our students and our state. Give March 4th at give.ecu.edu. That's give.ecu.edu.
What does it mean to win this award to you?
It means a lot to me, just being recognized for all my hard work on and off the court.
The Coastal Scholar Athlete of the Month from 99.9 The Fan and Coastal Credit Union. To nominate your athlete, text AWARD to 919-860-5326.
Hey, what do you say? John Forsland here from my friends at Buffalo Brothers. It's the best time of the year for college basketball, and Buffalo Brothers is a slam dunk. Best place in the Triangle to watch all the big games. They always have great drink specials, and check this out. Every Monday, half-price wings all day. That's half-price wings all day Monday. Dine in only. Now that's a deal, baby. Check out any of their 5 Triangle locations or online at buffbrothers.com. Aw, man! Now I want wings!
Life's great stories are built on yes and. Yes to the big game and the private suite. Yes to the beach and sailing offshore. Yes to traveling the country and exploring new ones. With the new Millionaire for Life from the North Carolina Education Lottery, you can say yes to $1 million now and every year for a lifetime. Millionaire for Life. Winning is just the beginning. Drawing 7 days a week. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning are 1 in 8.47. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9 The Fan. Everybody, right now, go download our 99.9 The Fan app. Google Play, App Store, whatever phone you have, no excuses. Do it. Do it. Oh, you've already done it? Cool. You can relax. Everybody else, go do it.
It's free, folks.
It's free. There's things to win. There's content. There's videos. There's things to read. It's good. Take my word for it. It's good. 99.9 The Fan, available everywhere you can download apps. We'd like a 5-star rating if you don't mind, but that's just a personal favor. In the meantime, while you do that, you can keep listening right here as we talk a little UNC Clemson. UNC basketball taking on Clemson tonight. It is senior night for UNC, which I've said this stat a few times, but it just absolutely blows my mind. So I'll say it one more time. It is Seth Trimble's senior night. And according to Isaac Trotter of 247, there are only 22 high major scholarship players who will celebrate senior night this week, having played at just one school. There are 10 Big Ten seniors that have played their entire career at one school, 5 Big 12 seniors that have played their entire career at one school, 3 apiece in the Big East and ACC, one of them being Seth Trimble, and just one in the SEC. There used to be a time where every team had 3 or 4. And they'd be super excited. They'd be holding a framed jersey. Their parents would be out there. Now, with like most schools in Power Conference, don't have any scholarship seniors to celebrate. What do? Just try to like the band members, the dance team, and a walk-on and call it a day? It's kind of crazy. But Seth Trimble, loyalty. Not saying he didn't think about it, right? He entered the portal, took his name back out, right? He did the song and dance, but he is a Tar Heel for life. And I saw Hubert Davis entertaining this conversation. Dennis, do you think there'll ever be one again?
That's difficult.
That's difficult. There might never be a UNC 4-year player ever again.
Especially with the level of recruit that they're getting.
The level of recruit that they're getting. Also, they're supplementing with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
And if you bring in a transfer portal player, taking minutes and things, it gets hairy. Some guys leave. Also, sometimes it's mutual. Sometimes it's like, you could be a role player here, maybe your junior and senior year, or you could go somewhere else and star. And by the way, we don't want to give you all the NIL money. Like it's or when you go to Cameron Indoor and you look up in the rafters, right? I believe part of their jersey retirement requirements are you have to graduate.
At Cameron for Duke?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
J.J. Redick might have the last retired jersey in Duke history because if you're good enough to have your jersey retired and you're playing at Duke, you're probably not hanging around. So nights like tonight where Seth Trimble is going to have a senior night, And then he's going to grab the mic, and he and Elijah Davis, another senior on the team, are going to give speeches to the Chapel Hill faithful, to the Dean Dome fans. Like, it's kind of special. And it could be a endangered species of events where it's just not going to happen anymore, which is sad. I'm going to have to change my whole spiel. I used to give I still do give a spiel on signing day, where I say it's not about having the most pictures and cameras at your signing day when you're signing out of high school. It's about having the biggest applause, meaning you actually did something on senior day. I'm going to have to change it to it's not about having the most options on signing day. It's about having the most options when you hit the portal 2 years later. It's changing everything. It's about having the biggest raise in your NIL money from junior to senior year. It's all changing. So tonight it would be a cool moment for Seth Trimble. There is a requirement on senior days that lets you smile and treat it as a cool moment, though.
Yeah.
You got to win.
Oh, there's that too.
Right. Otherwise, you have to play the face thing as you try to think back positively on your career. Clemson is not an easy team to beat. They beat Louisville in their last game. They were on a pretty good skid before that. 35th in the net rankings. But Carolina, without Caleb Wilson, it's far from an assumed win. Like, you have to go out there and play well. I think Seth Trimble, when he shoots well, when he is efficient, high shooting percentage, that is maybe the biggest obvious thing, where it's like, if he shoots well and scores, 15 or more, they're this level of team. If he doesn't, they drop all the way to this level of team. Like, there's a big gap there. So if Vasar and Trimble lead the way, they'll be A-okay. It's another opportunity for them to kind of build their comfort with more scoring, more gravity responsibility, as far as everybody having eyes on them. And then if and or when Caleb Wilson can come back and resume his previous duties, they'll be better for it with a three-headed monster rather than kind of the two-headed monster they had. But they got to beat Clemson to have all these good vibes matter. And to have momentum going into their game at Duke to end the season, which is obviously a game that they're going to want those bragging rights. Clemson's an interesting team. They simultaneously feel like they should be in the upper tier of the ACC, but then every time I watch them, I go, really? They should be in the upper tier? It feels like they must win every game I don't watch. Because every game I watch, they're not playing that great. But then you look at the advanced analytics, and it's like, actually, they're not bad. They're a confusing team, and they often are. Even their game against Louisville that they just won. I didn't watch the game, so actually I just kind of lied about they must win every game I don't watch. Or actually,
I was
they
there
did
for
win
that
this
game
one.
against Louisville.
No, the Clemson-Louisville game?
Oh, Clemson-Louisville.
Yeah,
Okay,
Clemson,
sorry.
I'm talking about Clemson. They had no individual big-time performances. They had a billion guys that scored between 7 and 13 points. So it's difficult to even pin down where to start. But obviously Carolina is a team that has a bunch of guys that can score as well. So this might be a all for one for all type of game where you're going to need everybody.
I mean, a lot at stake tonight. Winner of this game gets a top 4 seed in the ACC tournament.
If UNC wins, they clinch it. If Clemson wins, they clinch it as well?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. I knew that if UNC won, they clinched.
They're both same record in the ACC.
Okay, so they own, and then UNC is in the position now, so they own the tiebreaker. So if UNC wins, they get it. If Clemson wins, the tiebreaker would get confusing because
if Clemson wins it, they'll be 11-5. UNC will be. I'm sorry. If Clemson wins, they'll be 12-5. UNC will be 11-6. NC State's 10-7 in the ACC. Louisville's 9-7 in the ACC. So now Clemson would only one game left, wouldn't drop anywhere to.
And they would own the tiebreaker.
And they own the tiebreaker against UNC. So yeah, the winner of this game takes the 4 spot, gets a double bye.
There you go.
There's a lot on the line tonight.
There you go. If you want to be set up for when Caleb Wilson comes back, you better win tonight. Give him all the time to get healthy, assuming he doesn't play in that Duke game either. The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 99.9, The Fan. Should be a fun one. We'll talk about it tomorrow, regardless of what the outcome is. But I do want to remind you, Overdrive is coming up next, where we'll talk similarly. We'll react to last night's game, the NC State and Duke game, which Duke won by a bundle. So you can catch our breakdowns of that one. Tomorrow is also a hockey night in Carolina, so keep your first goal scorer predictions in the back of your mind. And download our app, as I said, 99.9 The Fan, YouTube, 99.9 The Fan, all of it, 99.9 The Fan. We'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great night, everybody.
The Adam Gold Show.
The Olympics are over. Jacob Slavin's a gold medal winner. Sebastian Aho won a bronze. Seth Jarvis won a silver. And now it's about the business of finishing this. The day job for Jarvis and Slavin and Aho, it's about winning the Stanley Cup. 25 games, 49 days. It is a gauntlet between now and the end of the season and the start of the playoffs.
The Adam Gold Show, weekdays starting at noon on 99.9 The Fan.
This is Gordon Miller from Miller Lending in Cary. Over the years, I'm often asked why we made the choice to become one of the only mortgage companies in the state to provide loans without closing costs as a primary source of funding. And my response is always the same. How did closing costs ever become a thing? Who was that first person who asked for a lower rate, heard it would cost $15,000 to save $50 a month, smiled and said, "That'd be great"? Recently, we're noticing a trend of large national lenders quoting low rates but with a high APR. This is the definition of what happened when that first person asked for a lower rate but ignored how much it would cost. Quotes today are a two-part process. It's not just the rate, but what are the closing costs? At Miller Lending, we simply don't believe you'll keep your loan long enough to realize additional savings. So before you throw away thousands of dollars in needless fees, pick up the phone and call Miller Lending today. 919-447-3377, or simply apply online at millerlending.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender and MLS number 250-2146.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. SoundStation and Security, your automotive and audio experts. Car audio, car video, home theater, wheels and tires, and so much more. Plus, did you know SoundStation and Security offers full service for your vehicle? Alignments, inspection, oil changes, window tinting, and custom exhaust. And with a variety of financing options, SoundStation and Security can help you get what you need today. 2 locations, downtown Smithfield and on Glenwood Avenue in Raleigh. SoundStation and Security. Visit myhotsound.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Franklin Becker. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. There's only one FDA-approved Ozempic made by Novo Nordisk. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection 0.5, 1, and 2 milligrams.
The shot, they score! Be part of the loudest house in the NHL. Win tickets to see the Carolina Hurricanes take on the Pittsburgh Penguins at Lenovo Center on Tuesday, March 10th by visiting hurricanes.com/radio and registering to win.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life